protecting us to make all this possible. We give thanks for and ask you to be with them and their families. May your peace and your presence surround us all. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Performing our national anthem, please welcome country singer from season 24 of NBC's The Voice, Tristan Brown.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hid at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and of the
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for some Saturday Night NASCAR as we have the NASCAR Xfinity Series at the Sonoma Raceway for their back-to-back road course West Coast swing, and here we are live for the action with full night. It's Xfinity Series race day, and it is the final race on Fox for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. The race for visual purposes is on Fox Sports 1 here tonight. Of course, we will have the full flag-to-flag commentary for you right here on KRC. We were supposed to have live commentary of today's qualifying session at Sonoma as well. A little late coming back from work earlier today. I missed the start of qualifying. I didn't want to tune in the middle of the stream. And unfortunately, my phone had died earlier in the day, so I wasn't able to get to the community tab post. I picked up an OT shift, and probably going to be the last time I do that for at least anywhere resulting in a streaming day with the live commentary side of things, so I don't run into that issue again. Man, 3 weeks in a row now I've had scheduling conflicts. This one I think was more on my end than what it was the last 2 weeks with the rain. Of course, the rain with the Xfinity and truck races going on at the exact same time last week. Last week's Portland race for the Xfinity Series, we didn't really have much commentary for that. I did stream with about 10 laps to go, and we saw the finish of the race live as it happened. Didn't really get to see much of it before that. Justin Allgaier did dominate the race in the laps led category by leading the most and winning the first 2 stages of the race, but it was Shane Van Gisbergen who was able to get around him on the final restart, lead the final few laps after running top 3 the whole race behind the 7 of Allgaier, bested him when it mattered the most. Here this weekend, coming out of the gate swinging for SVG, the confidence is up after getting his first career Xfinity win. He qualified on the pole after being fastest in practice overall yesterday afternoon as well. So here we are here today as he tries to go for the clean sweep and leading at the end of practice, qualifying, and now the race. He only has to deal with one, make that scratch at 2 Cup Series regulars in the field for this one. Ty Gibbs in the 19 for Joe Gibbs Racing, and also for Joe Gibbs Racing, John Hunter Nemechek. AJ Allmendinger, who will be running the Cup Series race tomorrow, is in this race, of course, as a full-time Xfinity Series driver. He'll be starting in 4th. Hasn't won yet this season. Road course ringer, maybe he could be a threat to win as well. You can vote for who you think will win this race in the chat. The voting polls are between Gibbs, Allmendinger, and Van Gisbergen. My pick here today is going to be SVG. Again, he was fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying. I picked him to win last week at Portland. He won for me, and he started in the 2nd place position there. 1 position higher here. I think with this being a repaved racetrack, although it is the same racetrack they do to a lot of these drivers, of course, this field is a lot younger. And we look at SVG and you put him into a situation where a track is relatively new. See what he did at the Cup race at Chicago last year on the street course. He was able to win in uncharted circumstances, and I think that blends well for him this weekend. I'm surprised he's not in the Cup Series field, because honestly, I think he can go out and win that race. Coda, we saw earlier this season, he ran the Cup race, ran the Xfinity race, but more laps, I guess, by a lot of other drivers in Xfinity cars on that racetrack, in Cup cars on that racetrack, and that's why he wasn't necessarily a threat to win. He also, or it was a completely new track for him, but not for some of the other Cup regulars at the time. So here today, a relatively new racetrack. It races completely different from recent years, especially track times, lap times for each of these series this weekend, 2 to 3 seconds quicker a lap. Shattered the track record in both the Xfinity and Cup Series races through qualifying earlier today. Not the races, but in qualifying, new track records for obviously SVG here. And then in the Cup Series, I believe, what was it, Joey Logano on the pole in that one? I didn't get to see it, but I think I saw the top 3 at the end of it. Your broadcast booth drivers for this race would include Daniel Suarez, who is a former Cup winner at Sonoma, got his first career win here in 2022, and Joey Logano, who I just was talking about moments ago, in a not a must-win situation necessarily, but in a situation where a win would definitely be nice into locking him into the playoffs tomorrow, so he'll get a little bit of that throw for the command to fire engines today. We'll go through the point standings before we get into the starting lineup. This is the Xfinity Series regular season standings as you see on screen. Cole Custer comes in with an 18-point lead over both Austin Hill and Chandler Smith, a tie for second there, and the tiebreaker goes to Austin Hill as of right now, who has the best average finish. They each have 2 wins, so that would have been the first tiebreaker. Second tiebreaker would be average finish. Again, Austin Hill leads in that category, so that is why he is out in front. Justin Allgaier only 23 points out of first, is fourth in the standings, so top 4 within 23 points after 13 races, as we're halfway through the Xfinity Series regular season. 12 races ago in the regular season for the Xfinity Series after tonight. Custer still winless on the year, but has been very consistent. That's why he is leading in points. And he did win on 2 road courses last season, winning Chicago on the street course, and then also winning at Portland. So maybe he could be a threat here today if there's problems for a Gibbs or an SVG ahead of him. As far as the drivers locked into the playoffs with a win this season, 2 apiece, like I mentioned, for Austin Hill and Chandler Smith. Justin Allgaier, Jesse Love have 1 win this season as well. And Shane Van Gisbergen and Sam Mayer, the other drivers, with a win. So 6 Xfinity regulars with a win. 6 more drivers can still lock themselves in with another win. And those drivers that are in on points right now would include, I mentioned Custer is the current points leader. AJ Allmendinger, who's 6th overall in the standings. Riley Herb 7th. Sheldon Creed 8th. Parker Kligerman 9th. And Sammy Smith in 10th. Now, Sammy Smith has the last playoff spot of the 12 because he has 2 drivers behind him in points with a win, that being, again, SVG and Sam Mayer. So with Sammy Smith having the last spot, he's 20 points to the good over Ryan Sieg. Brandon Jones is also below the cutoff line. He's down by 23 points. And Anthony Alfredo would be the next one behind him in the standings. Alfredo currently sits 32 points below the cutoff line. Over a race worth of points out is Parker Retzlaff, who's 16th overall in the playoff standings. Parker Kligerman comes into the race, I mentioned, above the cutoff points to the good. And another 12 points beyond that, Sheldon Creed, who I mentioned already was 8th in the driver standings. So that's an update on the point standings outlook before this race begins here today. Appreciate, again, everybody tuning in here for this one. Again, I deeply apologize for missing the qualifying stream. Again, I did not get to even see what happened with qualifying. So more on that in depth with tomorrow's pre-race, where we will go live at 3 p.m. Eastern for the start of tomorrow's Cup Series action. So again, 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow for the Cup Series. And here we are. Saturday Night NASCAR. 41 votes have been cast already for who you think will win. I put the poll up about it. Really, by the time I got home, it was like one of the first things I did after the community tab post. So the poll's been up for over an hour now. That's why we have 41 votes already. More than that watching right now, so be sure to vote. And we also have less likes than we have votes in the poll, which is usually the case for some reason, so definitely hit that like button so we can get to our goal of 100 likes before the end of the stream. We're currently at 27. 46% saying 46% saying that SVG is going to win today's race. He's my pick. Larry McReynolds, Shannon Spick, and Jamie McMurray in the pre-race. They all took SVG to win also. It sounds like almost everybody's picking SVG. Him winning last week, I think, definitely did it. I took him to win at Coda, and he was very close to winning that one as well. Battling for the win with Austin Hill in the final lap. Obviously, he ended up having the cutting the course penalty through the S's. Ultimately, didn't end up finishing in second, but yeah, that's all right. He ended up getting his win eventually, and now he'll look for more playoff points here today. Chicago coming up in a month. SVG could have 3 wins in about 30 days if he keeps at it the way he's going right now. And he didn't run the Xfinity race at Chicago last year, just the Cup race. Wade Zielinski, Scotty Dingus, Mark Witkowski, Frank Powers, Dan Bowers, Bond 1771, Candy Cox, Travis Glanton, the Tower Enthusiast. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Mike G, Cole Trickle, Earl Arnold Jr. also welcome into the stream. There we go, up to 29 likes now. Appreciate that. Cars rolling out onto the racetrack. Very fast racetrack at Sonoma. Practice was a whole heck of a lot of fun to watch last night. I'm sure for those of you that were able to watch qualifying earlier, I'm sure that was thrilling as well. Just seeing the cars so much faster than ever before around these corners. So much more on throttle time. Makes the margin of error very, very little, especially if a car goes off track, gets a little of that dusting from the dead grass or sandy areas of the racetrack. You get some of that out on the track, it makes it a lot more slick with this fast surface. And I don't think we're going to see a lot of passing in both races this weekend with this being a replay. I think there's going to be a lot more major mistakes. And that will lead to comers and goers, in my personal opinion. Maybe more so in tomorrow's Cup race than in this Xfinity race today, but we could see some of that here in this one as well. I think we'll see more cautions this weekend at Sonoma than what we would usually see. Obviously, cautions are few and far between on road courses because if we get a lazy spin, they got plenty of time to get up out of the way before the field comes rolling. ME Racing, thanks for tuning in also. Going for SVG and Chandler Smith. Got the live leaderboard out on the screen right now, and while the parade laps are going on, we'll go through tonight's starting lineup for the Zip Buy Now, Pay Later 250 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. One of those weird title sponsors, again, for the Xfinity Series that we've seen quite often in the last couple of seasons. I mentioned it already, Shane Van Gisbergen, the odds-on favorite for tonight's race on the pole. He's my pick. And we'll see what he can do after getting his first career Xfinity win last week and his first career Xfinity pole this week. Ty Gibbs will be starting in the second place position. Of course, he was the road course ringer in the Xfinity Series full-time the last couple seasons before. Now we have SVG in the series full-time. AJ Allmendinger back full-time. But Gibbs running this Xfinity race today. Again, 1 or 2 Cup regulars in the field. Austin Hill and AJ Allmendinger in row number 2. Hill looking for his first career road course win. And AJ Allmendinger is looking for, I believe, double digits. I think he's at 9 right now on Xfinity Series wins on a road course. Justin Allgaier, Jesse Love will be in row number 3. Allgaier led the most laps at Portland on a road course last weekend. Got 2 stage wins, looking for a race win today. And Jesse Love looking for a much better performance here today than what he had last week, as he ran outside the top 10 for most of that one. John Hunter Nemechek and Sam Mayer in row 4. Nemechek has won already this season for Joe Gibbs Racing. Looking for another win in his part-time role. Again, he is one of the 2 Cup regulars in the field. And Sam Mayer looking for a second win of the season, and he won on a couple road courses last year. Sheldon Creed and Sammy Smith in row 5. Creed's had good runs on road courses. Ended up getting into late incidents last weekend at Portland. But needs a good run today as he's just inside the cutoff line. Same goes for Sammy Smith as he's the last driver above the cutoff line on points. Chandler Smith and Cole Custer in row 2. Mentioned Custer 2 road course wins a season ago. Still looking for his first overall win since winning the championship last year. Parker Retzlaff and Parker Kligerman, both the Parkers, back in row number 7. Row 8 will be Riley Herbst and Anthony Alfredo. Ed Jones and Ryan Sieg will be in row number 19. Jones, road course ringer in the 26 for Sam Hunt Racing for the second consecutive week. Alex LeBay is back in the Xfinity Series. He'll be on the inside of row 15 with Jeb Burton to his outside. Blaine Perkins and Austin Green in row number 11. Row number 12 is going to be Jeremy Clements and Preston Pardis. Kyle Weatherman and Thomas Annunziato will be in row 13. Row 14 for Brandon Jones and Josh Williams starting deep in the field today. Leland Honeyman and Brad Perez in row 15. Row 16 for Josh Balicki and Kyle Sieg. Brendan Poole with Ryan Ellis in row 17. Boris Said is back in the Xfinity Series this weekend, 62 years old, as he'll be running in the HendrickCars.com Chevrolet. Crashed in practice, hence why he is starting deep in the field. Interested to see what he could do, though. Again, he's on the inside of row 18. Matt DiBenedetto to his outside, making one of his handful of starts he has done so far in the Xfinity Series this season. Then Haley Deegan and the 38-car field that we'll see today. And we'll see a 38-car field in the Cup Series race tomorrow as well. For more on the pre-race before the drop of the green, here is the FS1 crew. Again, Adam Alexander, Joey Logano, and Daniel Suarez will be on the call.
Struggling with one team in the past few races here today. He told me it is important and establish some dominance, have a solid day, and start to propel themselves towards the playoffs, which start shortly down the road. They need to start doing that right now so the rest of these teams know that they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
You know, Regan, you mentioned the playoffs, and today does in fact mark the beginning of the second half of the regular season. Chandler Smith, one of those drivers that has locked himself in. When you look at the standings after last week in Portland, half the playoff field is locked up. 6 drivers have won, and you're starting to run out of time to take care of business if you're going to run for a championship.
Yeah, and when you come to a road course, it presents so much opportunity, not only for the guys that are outside looking in, the ones right on the bubble, but also the guys that have wins already. At some point in this race, when it comes down to the end of the stages, the crew chief's going to have a decision to make. Do I flip the stage, meaning I pit 2 laps before the end of the stage to keep my track position when everyone pits under the caution, or stay out and take a playoff point possibly? You're going to give up your track position when it restarts after the stage, but that's an opportunity for a lot of these drivers here today, and a decision a crew chief is going to have a hard time with all day long.
You know, track position I think is going to be key today, boys. I think it's going to be extremely valuable, and I don't think they're going to be able to give it up. You know, their pace, everyone is going to be trying to understand what is the pace in the long run, and who knows, we may only see 2 stops in this race. I think track position is going to be key today.
Well, we heard Justin Allgaier talk about running the race backwards, right? When you were talking to him in the car earlier, you know, that means he's wanting to pit as soon as the window opens for the last pit stop, right? So they know the tire wear is probably not going to be a big deal. As soon as they can make that pit stop under green, that's what they're going to want to do. They don't want to get caught and have to pit under caution when everybody is going to pass them. They want to pit under green so they can stay out under caution. So as soon as that window's open, they're going to do that as quickly as possible.
Lights are out on the pace car, and pacing the field today at Sonoma, the new Toyota GR Supra. Front row, Shane Van Gisbergen, Ty Gibbs. It's going to be a battle all
79 lap race length, 156 miles, 250 kilometers. 20 laps in stage 1, 25 in stage 2, and the final stage 34 laps. Fuel window 30 to 34. So they shouldn't have to pit under green flag conditions in this one. That final stage is going to be tight on the pit window. But with the stage yellow at the end of stage 2, I think they should be able to make it, barring, of course, any potential overtime laps ran later in the race. No overtime last week in Portland. We will have live pit stops today, though. No cautions during or red flags, I should say, during the stage breaks today. That was a standalone Xfinity race last weekend. This weekend, it is not a standalone event for the Xfinity Series. Pace car rolls away. Field enters the Geico restart zone. SVG leads us, and we're racing prime time, at least on the East Coast, at Sonoma. Clearly not under lights, obviously, on the West Coast at this racetrack, hence the later start time. SVG through turn 2 is going to be clear of Ty Gibbs for that race lead. Shuts the door on him into turns 4A and 4B. And they'll be headed to the chute now, side by side between the RCR teammates, Jesse Love and Austin Hill. One of the tighter corners on the racetrack, nearly making contact. A few other cars door to door just behind him. Sam Mayer pulling out of line to make a move on his teammate, Justin Allgaier. That was on the inside of turn 7. And Allgaier's able to fend him off. Through the S's, most of the cars single file. Definitely not an area of the racetrack you want to be side by side. Few cars in the tail end of the field are running door to door, though. And SVG's already opened up about a 3 to 4 car length gap on the opening lap of the race. And SVG will lead lap 1 this time by. Gibbs gains in the braking zone of turn 11 down in that tight hairpin corner. And there's a wall on the inside of that corner, which we usually don't see. Kind of reminiscent of the older NASCAR video games. Having the wall on the inside of the racetrack. Usually there would be like tire barrels spaced out down there, and that is not the case now. And that is to keep the drivers up on the racetrack, because we had seen those barrels get moved around quite a bit with the next-gen cars the last couple of seasons in turn number 11. So now they can't move the wall, so forces them up the racetrack a little bit. And even with them having to be forced wide again, these lap times so much faster around this repaved Sonoma Raceway compared to years past. SVG sat on the pole, and the difference between him and Ty Gibbs' time was a couple tenths of a second. SVG was fastest overall in practice by over 3/10 of a second between him and the next fastest lap, which was ran by Parker Kligerman. Kligerman starting just outside the top 10, continues to run just outside the top 10. It's still out ahead of Ty Gibbs in second, AJ Allmendinger third, Austin Hill fourth, and Jesse Love fifth.
First second, had an opportunity to run the track, and they couldn't believe, we're going up the hill in corner 1 and 2, and those are one of the things that only the race car drivers actually had that perspective.
This is another big load up area right here. They load right into the corner here. Boom, get a bunch of grip, able to turn up the hill. Then it gets light. This is what I'm talking about. You kind of come up over this hill. You can't see much. Really light into a heavy braking zone. Down old asphalt, by the way. When you jump off over that curve, that's the old asphalt. And then you're back onto the new stuff here through turn 7. And it's about to launch off this corner.
I believe that Shane right now, he's trying to manage his stuff a little bit. But half a second is not enough for comfort or joy. I don't know what you think, but he's definitely, he's Ty Gibbs is definitely not letting him just go away too comfortable.
Yeah, I like watching Shane's in-car camera here. Something I've noticed about him, he's just so smooth. He's going so fast, and it doesn't look like he is. Like he just makes it look easy. You see other drivers inside the car, they're hustling cars sideways, they're working the wheel on, and their Shane just looks like he's on a Sunday cruise.
Something that I was talking to Shane is his style of using the clutch. Like most of the drivers we're seeing Cold Cluster right now, most of the drivers like yourself, Joey, myself, we use the left foot to brake, and we use downshift or upshift with just blipping the throttle a little bit. Which Shane has a different style. He's using the clutch, and as we know, Joey, in these cars, wheel hop is something extremely common. And when you're using the clutch, the wheel hop, you're pretty much eliminating that factor. So I feel like to Shane, that has been one of his advantages with these Xfinity cars.
Riding with Cole Custer, reigning champion. This our forward performance onboard camera. Did not qualify into the second round today, but right now riding in the 11th spot just behind Sammy Smith. And you can see right at your screen the footwork that goes into being successful at Sonoma or any road course, really.
And you see in there, you work at both pedals almost at the same time. It's so important to be smooth. When you're going through the S's like he is right now, the transfer of weight, he's turning left, now he's got to switch it back to the right. The cars are very top heavy. They're not like really sports cars. You know what I mean? They're heavy stock cars. So they got to transfer that weight. If you do it too aggressively, if you go to the brakes too hard, you turn the wheel too quickly, you upset the car and you miss your line.
We're seeing the 16 here swelling a little bit. He just lost a spot there to Austin Hill.
And I'll tell you, Austin Hill is a sleeper on the road. Second earlier this season at Coda, and someone who we just anticipate is going to be good. And how much of that is the 21 being good versus the 16 struggling, because the young rookie is now giving Allmendinger a hard time. The 2 is Jesse Love.
This is going to figure out how to pass here pretty quickly. AJ is not an easy pass on a road course for sure. He's going to fight him here. it's going to be tough to get around him. And AJ also knows, look at the line of cars behind him. He's struggling with the handle of his car. He's going to want to make sure he hangs on as best he can. But Jesse's going to do a good job off of 7 here and clear him into the S's.
He's matching a veteran that is Austin Hill. You know, Austin Hill already, he's been in the Truck Series for several years, in the Xfinity Series for a few years now. Jesse Love, he been racing like a veteran, you know, just doing very, very little mistakes and always moving forward. Right now, running already in the top 5.
And this is his home track. He grew up in nearby Menlo Park, California. One of 8 drivers racing today from California. It's been a great weekend for Shane Van Gisbergen. Fastest in practice, won the pole, dominating early into 97. We're 5 laps in wine country. Glad you're with us on it.
15 laps to go still in stage 1. Currently, your leaderboard has Shane Van Gisbergen in the lead, a half a second ahead of Ty Gibbs in second. Still keeping close proximity with him, all things considered. 2.9 seconds back is Austin Hill in third. Jesse Love fourth, and AJ Allmendinger has slipped to fifth. Justin Allgaier is sixth. 7th for Sam Mayer, Jonathan Nemechek 8th, Sheldon Creed 9th, and Sammy Smith is 10th. That is your top 10 in the running order. Cole Custer is currently in 11th, Parker Kligerman 12th, Chandler Smith 13th, Anthony Alfredo 14th, Parker Retzlaff 15th, Riley Herb 16th, Jeb Burton 17th, Ed Jones 18th, Austin Green 19th, and Ryan Sieg is 20th. 21st for Alex LeBay, Jeremy Clements 22nd, 21st for Thomas Annunziato, Preston Pardis 24th, and Josh Williams 25th. Blaine Perkins 26th, Brad Perez 27th, Kyle Weatherman 28th, Leland Honeyman 29th, and Brandon Jones 30th. Josh Balicki 31st, Boris Said 32nd, Brendan Poole 33rd, Ryan Ellis 34th. 35th for Kyle Sieg, Matt DiBenedetto 36th, Haley Deegan 37th, and Garrett Smithley 38th. Shane Van Gisbergen has now led the first 6 laps of the race from the pole here in this one. And our fast average race speed to this point, 89.94 miles per hour, caution free in the early laps of the Zip By Now, I can't even read that. The Zip By Now, Pay Later 250 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Sonoma. I'll take our first ad break of the stream. You're listening live. Well, that was the first time I messed that up, though. Hopefully the last time. Zip By Now, Pay Later 250. There's a comma in there somewhere. The comma's not showing on there, so it looks like just this giant run on the screen right now above the live leaderboard. And above where it says Sonoma Raceway on the screen. I don't think that's cut off for you guys. No, yeah, it's on there for you guys. You can see it just as clear as I can. Probably read it slightly better than I just did as well. Rich Lavender, thanks for tuning into the stream as well. Jeff Curry, welcome. And Brett Whitesides as well. Shout out to you in the chat. 43 likes on the stream. We're almost halfway to our goal of 100 already. Again, be sure to hit that like button. And the SVG voting poll has gotten even bigger. It was 46% for the start of the race. Now 53% of you say SVG will win tonight in the Xfinity race. Ty Gibbs, 10% of the votes. AJ Allmendinger, 19%. And other than those three at 17%.
Great memories in the last 10 years of covering the Xfinity Series on Fox. Joey made his booth debut as a play-by-play man just a couple of weeks ago at Charlotte. So you really have touched every corner through this process.
I never did the pit road reporting.
Oh, no.
Up in the air conditioner. Good with that. I really like that part.
That's a good excuse.
I sweat enough on Sundays, being in the air conditioner on Saturdays.
Shane Van Gisbergen is leading his teammate Allmendinger back in 5th.
Who's guys?
He seems really frustrated, doesn't he?
Yeah, and the thing about a road course too, like you think about an oval, you put some wedge in it. These guys got the track bar or something like that. You got the track bar, maybe that would help them a little bit. Wedge is just going to be helping one way or the other. If you help them left, it's going to hurt the rights, and vice versa, depending on how you do the wedge. There's not many ways you can fix it. Josh, we got a 98. Yeah, for Riley Hearns, it's been an absolutely difficult weekend for that team. Yesterday, you went as far as to say during practice last night, they got it slightly better for today, but still, they felt like they have some work to do to get this car where it needs to be. He came over the radio a little while ago and said, hey, this car is still just way too loose, so battle for the 98, Regan.
Well, Josh, seemingly a perfect race weekend so far for Shane Van Gisbergen. Out front leading the race right now, but just a moment ago reported to his crew chief Bruce Schlicker, he's having some issues with the rear of the car. It's slipping around, sliding around too much. Only feels like the tire pressure is too low. There is room for that number 97 to get better, and much like his teammate that we just heard of, AJ Allmendinger, he is loose with the back of that race car right now. Well, these things are consistent. Everyone is loose. I haven't heard one person say tight.
Yeah, and the one thing that's really tough about here is as the car gets freer, it gets looser and looser, those switchbacks right through the S's when you're transferring the weight. Think about it like a pendulum. You got the back end of the car swung out when you're turning to the left, and then you got to swing it back out the other way, and it just carries all that momentum and makes you really feel like you're going to spin out. The thing about it is everybody else seems to be fighting the same things.
And Regan said it, I said it. Right, the box score for the 97 this week is perfection. But the bottom line is when you look on track, Ty Gibbs is right in his hip pocket, not letting him get away.
Let me tell you something, Adam. I'm not driving the 19 car, but just by looking at it, it looks very, very sporty. It actually, to me, it looks even a little bit better than the 97. So I think that if the 19 has the opportunity to eventually pass the 97, I think he's a little faster car.
You know, we talked about tire fall off and what will it look like on the repave here in Sonoma. We're 11 laps into the race. Guys, there's like 2 to 3 tenths of fall off for the leaders right now. So I'd say the fall off maybe just be the balance going wrong more than the actual tires falling off. So with that said, you know it's all going to be about fuel mileage. How do we play this race to make sure we're up front at the end of the race? We're not going to drive through the field with new tires. So as a crew chief, you got to be thinking about what is the right strategy for this race, making sure that you get your driver and your car up front when it matters the most.
I would also think that indicates you better execute because there's not as much margin for error. Because as you said, if you get behind, it's going to be hard to recover. I'm looking at the scoring pylon. You got both RCR cars inside the top 10. 2 from Colic, 3 from Junior Motorsports. Pretty good start for Joe Gibbs Racing. That's kind of the breakdown when you look at organizations inside the top 10. Here's a bit of a moment on track. Chandler Smith, 81, looking out of line. Little contact, 38, Parker Kligerman. Chain reaction. Cole Custer goes wide.
Yeah, Cole got the bad end of that deal, and he's probably looking and saying, why did Parker do that? Well, Parker really wasn't in control there either. He was the one getting sent in there too. So that's what turn 11's about. Heavy braking zones. It's your opportunity to make a pass. And think about it. Everybody's braking as hard as they possibly can in there. So how do you pass somebody? You got to go a little bit outside your comfort zone to do that, to make a speed difference to do that. Most of the time, you're a little bit out of control when you do that.
James Smith doing it again, diving this time inside of Sammy Smith.
You know, that's another Gibbs car. That's another Gibbs car that has good speed. We're seeing a 19 car, and it looks to me that those Gibbs cars, maybe they're loose, but they're not as loose as some of the other cars.
They're definitely long haul cars, it seems like. Sammy Smith seems like he's a little bit on the struggle bus right now. As you know, he's also getting pressure from Cole Custer. You look at the back end of the car, Lewis Cole would get a good drive off of turn 2, get squished into the grass.
Oh, yeah, you can see the back of the car, of that A car, just being struggle.
It's dancing, isn't it?
We're dancing a little bit too much, and I bet he's not liking that dancing too much right now.
Kligerman looking for more. That's Sheldon Creed, the 18. Creed, a really good road racer. The same for Kligerman. You saw the numbers for the 48, 5th and 8th in the 2 road races this year. He's 10th right now, leading the way. Shane Van Gisbergen. We're halfway through stage 1 in wine country.
All right, on the running order now, as we have finished up lap 12 of 79, Shane Van Gisbergen still out ahead, 0.7 of a second now on Ty Gibbs, running relatively equal lap times, lap over lap between the two of them. Austin Hill is in 3rd, Jesse Love 4th, and AJ Allmendinger 5th. Justin Allgaier 6th, Sam Mayer 7th, John Nemechek 8th, Sheldon Creed 9th, and Parker Kligerman 14.9 seconds back of the lead in 10th. In 11th is Chandler Smith, Sammy Smith 12th. 13th for Cole Custer, Anthony Alfredo 14th, Parker Retzlaff is 15th. Austin Green 16th, Riley Herb 17th, Ed Jones 18th, 19th for Jeb Burton, and Alex LeBay is 20th. 21st for Ryan Sieg, Jeremy Clements 22nd, Preston Part is 23rd, 24th for Josh Williams, 25th for Thomas Annunziata, Lane Perkins in 26th, Brad Perez 27th, Brandon Jones 28th, 29th for Kyle Weatherman and Boris Said up to 30th. Leland Honeyman 31st, Josh Blakey 32nd, Ryan Ellis 33rd, 34th for Brendan Poole, Matt DiBenedetto 35th, Kyle Sieg 36th, Haley Deegan 37th, and Garrett Smithley 38th. All 38 cars still on the lead lap. And again, SVG has led all 13 so far in the race from the pole. 90.73 mile per hour average race speed, so it's gone up a little over a mile per hour, excuse me. So we continue to stay green in this one. I wonder if this weekend's Cup race has the potential possibility of being the fastest Cup race ever at Sonoma. There's been a couple years where there's only been 2 cautions for the stage yellows, and I don't know if they've ever had a caution-free race or not. And with the speeds obviously up at the track with the repave this season, I wonder if that's a potential possibility. I have to look that up later on into the evening and tomorrow morning before the start of that Cup race to break that down for you a little bit better. And the Xfinity Series has only been going here a couple years, so it could be the fastest Xfinity race as well. Christy McVeigh, also thank you for tuning in. Saw you pop into the chat there. We're up to 50 likes. We're halfway to our goal of 100, so be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Take another ad break. You're listening live to the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at the Sonoma Raceway on KRC.
Day in Sonoma, aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, powering the race from green flag to checkered and every mile in between. Goodyear, more driven. 6 to go in our opening stage. And Austin Hill losing a spot to Sam Mack.
Yeah, we heard about Sam Mayer, how confident he is when he comes to his road courses. And 3 of his 4 wins last year came on road courses. You see Austin Hill getting into turn 11. That's not wheelhouse. Look at the rear tire. It's washed up. Ooh. He's going to tag the tire barrier, come to a complete stop almost. He stalled it. You see the fire coming out of the pipes. He stalled it there. Lucky to get more damage.
18 on pit road. What's up with Sheldon, Regan?
Adam, this is an unscheduled pit stop for Sheldon Creed. Left rear tire felt like he had an issue. A bad vibration out of the left rear. Sam McCauley did tell him we are within a window that we can make work. If you need to come, pit this time, and he did.
I was going to say, it's unscheduled because typically, you're going to wait till you get down to 3 to go in the stage. But the way the race is set up today, you can't get under green, not lose a lap, and it's going to cycle through hopefully for him. So this is a good time to have an issue if you're going to have some kind of window.
Yeah, no penalty of doing it either because the tires we talked about not falling off. He's going to have 3 laps, maybe more laps on his tires than everyone else, assuming the leaders are going to flip the stage here coming up. So if you have an issue, you think you have an issue, you might as well pit.
He gave up 12 to come down and make the pit stop.
Hey guys, I want to talk about the monster pace that the first 2 cars are having right now. I mean, these 2 guys are putting almost 10 seconds. Right now, it's 9 seconds to the 3rd place car. So it's pretty incredible the pace that HVG and my little amigo Ty Gibbs are putting up right now.
Yeah, they're over a half a second faster than the 3rd place car Jesse Loves that last lap.
It's impressive. How about 2 rookies in the top 3? That's pretty good, huh? I mean, we talked about Jesse, 35 years old, but the reality is 2 rookies in the top 3, and then there's the veteran, Justin Allgaier, the 7 in 7th with 5 to go in the stage.
So we're right in the flip zone here. Like, we're the guy on the edge of not being able to make it. So, 17, I'm going to have to come at the R plug. You're going to be posted, all right? Yeah, the hard part is you're going to hinge off that 21.
So I don't know exactly what they're talking about there about not being able to make it being that song. Maybe they're talking about being down a lap.
That's what I've got to believe they're talking about.
That's fuel.
4 to go on the stage. On board with Shane Van Gisbergen, the race leader. This our leaf filter onboard camera. I would say this for everyone involved. In our regard, thank you to Ty Gibbs, because if Ty wasn't as fast as he was.
Well, what this is going to come down to is execution on pit road. Because right now Shane's able to hold the lead. I think because he has clean air on the car. For Ty Gibbs to be able to hang as close as he has for this many laps tells me that he's probably got the faster car. He just can't quite get there to make the move on him. It's going to be what happens on pit road that's going to determine whether that 19 gets control of this race or not.
Let me tell you, so far, these two drivers are doing an amazing job. You know, Adam was talking about SBG being a rookie. I think this rookie has way more experience than probably half of the field in the Cup Series. You know, in road courses, he's an amazing road course driver, and he's showing it. You know, in the Cup Series and in Xfinity Series.
My stat sheet says that he's a rookie. Okay, Daniel?
I can see.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Pit stops, these would be scheduled under green to flip the stage. Saw Sam Mayer in, his teammate, Justin Allgaier making a stop. They have to pit now because pit road will close with 2 laps to go on the stage. I would anticipate both the 97 and the 19, Van Gisbergen and Gibbs, will pull down the pit lane this time.
And Ty's just trying to stay as close as he possibly can to make sure that he can be on his back bumper on the pit road.
Down turn 10, and Van Gisbergen stays on the racetrack.
You know, that's a great move. You know, we call it the undercut. Why you got Regan?
Well, guys, Shane Van Gisbergen originally was anticipating the pit, I believe, this time by, but a late call from crew chief Blue Slicker told him to stay out. We will restart somewhere around 8th if we stay out and take the points here. Josh?
For the 19 of Ty Gibbs, he's been putting the pressure on Shane Van Gisbergen. They elected to flip the stage. They came in a pit now. Ty Gibbs, he's been flying, happy with that car, and they say just keep putting.
Sorry for that. Oh no, I lost it. Now I gotta log out, log back in.
Need that hard.
There we go.
It'll be fun to watch him come back through the field if he can come back through the field without getting any damage. That to me is the biggest risk for Shane doing this. Is it's going to be on the restarts of passing cars. Use his car up any doing that.
I think we should send a big thank you to his crew chief.
That's what I was going to say. Gosh,
I think we should take him for lunch next week because definitely he's gonna put on a show for us.
You look at the ones that stayed out. There's quite a few.
Yeah,
right? AJ
more than I thought.
Both Colin cars did that. Austin Hill, Kligerman, Nemechek. You know, Smith even taking 6th place points. You know, I think there it might be worth doing the flip.
Now I would say Sammy Smith at 7th. He comes in 20 points above the cut line, so his margin is not great. He's 12th right now on the bubble. That's someone that needs points. Anthony Alfredo, another driver that could use some points. So some of these you really understand the play. And if you're Shane Van Gisbergen, you're going to get me a playoff point, 10 stage points. You take them and move on.
Yeah, when you come to these these road courses, you have to define success sometimes in a different way. Is it the finishing position or is it the amount of points you scored, right? And Shane's going to come out of here with most likely, here if nothing happens on the last lap, with a playoff point and at least 10 regular points right off the bat. You know, so he knows he's going home with a playoff point. It's hard to get those, right? So that piece is important to him for the rest of the season. Now it's going to make his life a lot harder for the rest of this race, though, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the question to me right now is if he's gonna pit once the caution comes out, or he's gonna try to stay out and continue to run. We are seeing that the fall off is just at 1 second right now from his fastest lap to right now the wear out tire. So it's not a huge, you know, a few last year we were having a few second fall off here in Sonoma. So it's quite different. I wouldn't be surprised if they consider staying out.
Shane Van Gisbergen goes wire to wire in stage 1, gets the stage victory, his first stage win. And by the way, that snaps the Allgaier streak of 6 in a row. He had swept the last 3 weeks. Other drivers getting points: Allmendinger, Hill, Kligerman, Nemechek, Chandler Smith up there, Sammy Smith, Alfredo, Retzloff, and Herbst. 97 on a ride in Northern California.
That's talent. What you going?
All right, so stage one break here for the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Sonoma. You just heard Adam Alexander go through the full stage finish in order. I'll reiterate it. Shane Van Gisbergen wins stage one, leads all 20 laps of the race from the pole so far. AJ Allmendinger second, Austin Hill third, Parker Kligerman fourth, John Hunter Nemechek fifth, Chandler Smith sixth, Sammy Smith seventh, Anthony Alfredo eighth, Parker Retzlaff ninth, and Riley Herbst rounds out the top 10. 1 point per position, a playoff point to SVG. Of course, he's locked into the playoffs, so that's big for him. And a lot of questioning as to why he stayed out here. This kind of reminds me of what Larson did back in 2021 when he won at Sonoma, where he ended up staying out during stage one, and then during stage two, he short pitted because more drivers are going to stay out, get points there that were running outside the top 10. So he has plenty of time to try to cut back through the field because he obviously has a great car and the talent there. I do agree with what Joey Logano and Daniel Suarez mentioned in the broadcast booth, though, too, where you're putting yourself back in traffic, and we've seen this backfire. In fact, it backfired on Suarez in 2022 at COTA, where he qualified on the pole, dominated, led every lap of stage one, got put back in the middle of the pack, and at a restart he got in a wreck, and he was done for the day. Could have potentially had a shot. The reward here is going to be the question for SVG. The good news is there weren't a lot of other drivers that came into the pits there. The fuel window is not going to be big enough for these drivers to be able to make it to the end of stage two without pitting. So we are going to see everybody hit pit road that did not pit in the closing laps of the last stage. And again, there were very few drivers that did actually pit that will cycle ahead of SVG. So he should be really right around like 6th, 7th, 8th place if he wins the race off pit road. That's another thing too, with having this less room for error, I guess, or more room for error with pitting under caution. You could lose many more positions versus if he would have pitted under green, at worst he would have lost a couple positions, maybe only one really to Ty Gibbs considering how far ahead of the rest of the field he was. So, yeah, going to be interesting. I would imagine that they're not going to stay out, try to get the playoff point in stage two, but stage one here, knowing they have so much more time left in the race, I think that's why they made the call that they did. And again, he is locked in the playoffs. If he didn't win last week, I don't think that they were going to consider pitting to be. Well, I mean, he would have been below the cutoff line last week if he didn't win. So on the other hand, I guess maybe he would have stayed out anyway. But yeah, taking the playoff point. We'll have the diecast showing now during stage one. I couldn't get one out during the qualifying session for the Cup Series, so I will get a diecast showing out during stage one and stage two of today's Xfinity race. They're back. We'll get pit stops in first before that happens.
But the he's at 13 races. When you consider most every track we go to, he only gets 20 minutes of practice, and he's on what this 35-year-old from New Zealand has been able to do since coming to the States. And here he gets a stage win, 10 stage points, a playoff point, and we'll see how they handle the strategy now that they've been able to create some insurance in the points category.
Yeah, we were talking during the commercial break. There is a couple ways you can play it. We assume that he's going to pit here, but there's a chance that he doesn't. And I'm not exactly sure how it all works from there.
Yeah, that's true too.
There is a play that you could possibly stay.
I would say he definitely pits, but then I would also say even before that. But I would say also that his crew chief's already lied to me once today, so I would believe anything from this point going forward. Here they are, Regan.
Adam, we saw that contact in turn 11 for the 21 of Austin Hill. We told the team he wheel hopped all the way to the corner. It is the first time it had done that all day long. Otherwise, the car got tighter and tighter as they ran. It started to lose rear lateral grip off the corners as well. And Shane Van Gisbergen is very good right now. Loves the balance. It took too long to come in. That is the only complaint. He's got bad news for the competitors, Josh.
With a 48 of Parker Kligerman, he said the lateral got better as that run went on, but they need to try and get that car more in the track so they make an adjustment to help him out there. For AJ Allmendinger, he said this car turns good, but we heard the frustration from him earlier. He said he's fighting lateral grip bad, so they'll try and help him out, guys.
7 drivers had made their pit stop under green, so the race off pit road And the leader going to restart right around the 8th position. And Van Gisbergen holds serve, +1 for Austin Hill. Kligerman gains a spot, the same for Nemechek. Allmendinger goes 4 in the wrong direction. Let's talk to driver 97.
Let's dial him up. Shane is Logano up in the Fox booth again. You got us?
Yep, got you, man.
Well, you're looking pretty good. It looks like Ty Gibbs can kind of pace you, though, and you guys are running pretty well. Now, you got a little different strategy than Ty, where he pitted, and now you took the points. How do you feel about getting back up there through the field?
Yeah, obviously he's really here for the race with, so he's going to do that, but really good. He's obviously very strong to be able to stay that close to me all the time, so this one's going to be interesting. Sitting in the traffic, see if we can work our way through, but yeah, with next year, he still feels pretty good. Long way to go.
All right, man. Well, we're kind of excited to do a different strategy. It keeps it interesting for us, so it should be fun.
Yeah, look forward to it. Yes.
Get your popcorn ready. I'm here for the show. Van Gisbergen is going to restart. Back portion of the top 10. It's going to be a fun watch. And we'll get stage 2 rolling when we return to Sonoma.
It's getting the average finish for all the all the race win picks I've had this season for all 3 series. I don't know why I haven't done that yet this season, but I was kind of curious because I picked SVG to win last week, and I've actually picked more winners in the Xfinity series this season than any other 3 races. More than every 3 races on average, I've been predicting the winner, and SVG being a strong favorite here today. It would be back-to-back for the second time this year. The other races I would have picked winners back-to-back would have been Talladega. I took Jesse Love, and I took Ryan Truex at Dover in one of those overtime restarts. His only laps led were on that final one. So those were the 2 back-to-backs that I had. The other drivers who I predicted to win a race this season would include Austin Hill at Daytona at the start of the year. Again, SVG last weekend at Portland. And then I took Eric Almirola to win at Martinsville back in the spring also. So those are the 5 drivers I picked to win a race this season. And they've all actually been different drivers too. So all the 5 picks I've had are different guys who have won. So there is some versatility there. I know my stuff. 9.3 average finish, by the way, which I'd say is pretty solid. So the guy I picked to win an Xfinity race this season, a 9.3 average finish. Truck Series is actually even better than that, 9.1. And that is through 1 less race. They've had 12 races this year to the Xfinity Series 13. Predicted a winner 4 times. Actually predicted a winner 3 times in the first 5 races. And then only once in the next 7 after that. So most of those win picks were very early in the year. Took Kyle Busch a couple times. Took Corey Heim for his first couple wins. And then Ross Chastain at Darlington was the most recent win pick that I ended up having for the Truck Series. But yeah, 9.1. I didn't finish calculating the Cup Series average finish yet, so I'll get on that when they come back from the break next time. But again, end of stage 1, so we'll have a diecast showing during both stages here for this stream. For this first one, we have a 2003 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. It is the Cheez-It paint scheme of Terry Labonte. Yeah, 2003. I was thinking maybe this is 02. No, this is 03. But yeah, Cheez-It paint scheme, Terry Labonte. Kellogg's car as well. You can see the Kellogg sponsorship. Tony the Tiger's still on there, just not front and center on the hood like he is on his primary scheme from this season. You can still see the same kind of flames on the side of this car as what you would have seen on the Tony the Tiger car as well. Really like it. Great detail with the Cheez-It squares. By the way, Cheez-It's probably my favorite brand, big brand snack. Yeah, showing during qualifying earlier today. And this is one of actually 4 Terry Labonte diecasts I have. I think I'm more Labonte than any other driver other than my guy Ryan Blaney. Oh my goodness, I thought I dropped it. I forgot my desk was slanted a little bit. It started rolling down. Oh man, we almost had a catastrophe. Oh jeez, that would have slammed into a metal bar. I about broke it right in front of the camera. Oh man, scared the life out of me.
So that definitely gives something. And here's another issue here. AJ Allmendinger, the air hose gets underneath the splitter. You see it caught up there in the right front.
AJ losing time on pit road.
We already have a AJ Allmendinger, who's a little ticked off.
It's boiling now.
Yeah, he might be boiling over at the moment.
He's not the only one disappointed after stop. Speeding penalties for the 98 of Riley Herbst, 28 of Kyle Sieg, free pass. Under this, our first caution of the day goes to Ed Jones in the 26, driving for Sam Hunt, coming off a career best run last weekend in Portland. Front row for the restart. Those drivers that flipped the stage, Ty Gibbs, Jesse Love, and they're behind the pace car, the Toyota GR Supra. It is pulled off, and we're going green to begin stage 2.
Here we go, boys. Let's see what really tires matter. You know, the difference between the first 6-7 guys is only a couple laps on tires. So we're gonna really see what the 97 has towards those guys with a little bit disadvantage on tires.
I think this is where Shane's going to show his expertise, right? It's one thing to go fast, it's another thing to pass cars. And where I think he's going to pass a lot of cars is into these braking zones. We talked about the way he heel toes and he brakes. He gives it, look at him. He just fires her down in there. He's able to at least get maybe one position out of that. He's going to get Justin Allgaier down into the S's.
Muscle up, drive to the front. Shane Van Gisbergen restarted 8th. We're half a lap into the restart, and he's inside the top 5 and looking for more.
So much of road course racing to me is reputation. Right? When you think of Shane Van Gisbergen in your mirror and he's right behind you going into turn 11, you know he's going to try to outbrake you, and you just know it's going to happen, and you're probably not going to keep him behind you for long. And it actually makes, I think, some of the passes easier for those guys.
Sheldon Creed had that problem, made the unscheduled pit stop, but it all cycles through, and he's in the top 5, and for now stays in front of Shane Van Gisbergen. We're on board here. This is the Toyota onboard camera riding with the 18.
You know, something else that Shane does an amazing job is that he knows that he has a little bit of time. You know, like he doesn't have to push the issue right now. He doesn't have to make enemies. He's very early in the race. You know, we're not even halfway into the race yet. So he's pushing the limit, but not too hard.
It's Leland Honeyman Jr., Daniel, off track. No caution, no harm, no foul. He was 29th when he left the pavement.
I mean, you say he doesn't have to go, but we know the pace of Ty Gibbs. So you give him that clean air for long, he's not going to look at the 42 down into turn 1. It's a little bit high into the. It checks dirty up there still. It's not cleaned up from the repave. You get a little bit too high and you whoa up the hill.
Whoa. You know, that's the thing about this racetrack right now. The racetrack is super fast, but as soon as you get out of the racing line, you are in the, like Joy said, whoa. That's not good. You don't want to be there.
You know what I'm impressed with is Jesse Love. Restart 2nd. Right up there with Ty Gibbs, and also hanging in Sam Mayer in the 1 in 3rd right now. Van Gisbergen, as you saw, was able to get by Creed. He's now 4th after restarting 8th. We're 7 laps into stage 2.
Sid Meier's got a pretty fast car. He's able to hang with Jesse Love. You see his road course stats right there with 3 wins. He's got a good shot to win this thing today. You know, he's in position to do it right now. So he's going to want to get a little bit more track position when he can here, try to get himself into the top 2.
You know, and Mayer could have won last week in Portland, running inside the top 5, cut a tire late, ended up finishing deep in the field. What's up with that one group, Josh?
Yeah, and speaking of Sam Mayer and wins, remember, he was in the ARCA race last night and ended up coming away with the win. And when I talked to him about that, he said the biggest thing for him, while he's got a road course background, Sonoma is one of his worst road course tracks, so he wanted to get more experience out there. And he said, well, the cars are different. The biggest things he learned last night were about the braking zones and the passing zones. Those were a big help for him, giving him a lot more confidence heading into this race here today, guys.
So he's got a great background at the ARCA level, and the one common thread, his crew chief now, Marty Lindley, was his crew chief then. Their chemistry really has led him to positive. Stage 2 at Sonoma, Ty Gibbs in charge.
Right, so Ty Gibbs out in front for the first time today, following the pit stop sequencing. Of course, he was one of the few drivers who pitted before the end of stage number 1, sacrificing the stage points. He's going strictly for the win today. Of course, no points on the line for Gibbs being a Cup regular, and trying to go for his 2nd Xfinity Series win of the season. Jesse Love currently sits in the 2nd place position. He's 0.7 of a second behind him in P2. Sam Mayer is 1.2 seconds off the lead in 3rd. Shane Van Gisbergen is in fourth, 3.2 seconds off the lead. Sheldon Creed is in fifth, 4.2 seconds back. Justin Allgaier sixth, 4.7 seconds off the lead. Cole Custer in seventh, 5.2 seconds back. Austin Hill is in eighth. He's 5.9 seconds behind Gibbs. 6.3 seconds off the lead is Parker Kligerman in ninth. John Hunter Nemechek rounds out our top 10. He's 6.6 seconds behind the race leader and his teammate at the front of the field. Average race speed 78.39 mile per hour. 27 laps complete out of 79. Just over 40 minutes into this race from the initial drop of the green flag. Our early two leaders have been Ty Gibbs and Shane Van Gisbergen. SVG led the first 21 laps from the pole. Obviously, with pitting during the stage break and not beforehand, that is what gave the lead to Ty Gibbs. And Gibbs, who was running second on speed through most of stage one, now leading and setting the pace early in stage two. And again, SVG drove up to fourth from eighth on the race start. A couple seconds separate him and Sam Mayer on the racetrack for third. SVG did make a little bit of contact in that three-wide maneuver in turn number 7 at the top of the hill when he was trying to get by both Sheldon Creed and Justin Allgaier at the same time. Don't think that's really affecting SVG as much right now, just kind of settling in the middle of this pack. But a lot of faster cars up at the front of the field. AJ Allmendinger, who had the problem on the pit stop, is in 12th now after running in the top 5 through all of stage 1. The air hose was trapped underneath the car when the jack dropped on the right side, and then when they went back over to the left side of the race car, obviously had to go back to the right, jack it back up again, pull the hose out from underneath the splitter, and away they went with the rest of the pit stop. But he lost at least a half a dozen spots on pit road because of that, on top of the fact he stayed out to get the stage points, which was going to put it back in traffic beforehand anyway. We'll take another ad break. You're listening live on KRC to the NASCAR Xfinity Series race, the Zip Buy Now, Pay Later 250 at Sonoma.
Fox NASCAR live in Sonoma, California. Today, it's the Zip Buy Now, Pay Later 250 for NASCAR. Point of stage 2, Ty Gibbs is leading. Jesse Love, Sam Mayer, Shane Van Gisbergen, who started on the pole and won stage 1, and Sheldon Creed make up the top 5.
I've been paying attention in the gap, right? Obviously, Shane Van Gisbergen, he has a little newer tires, and obviously we know how fast he is, but he's been in the 3-second gap to the leader, to the 19 car, and actually, if anything, he has lost a little bit of ground, so he's not making the progress that we thought that he was going to make.
You know, his teammate, and we just riding there just a second ago with AJ Allmendinger, is not making progress either. They had the issues on pit road that we showed you. Restarted 13th. He's riding 12th and just trapped because it's so hard to pass. And just as I say that, a couple of veterans going at it for position. In turn 11, Cole Custer inside Justin Allgaier. This for 6th.
Justin's going to race him down on turn 1 here. He was hoping he was going to be able to clear him here at this point, but Cole's going to fight hard on the top. He's going to get him here.
Clear, out there. That's good racing right there.
Yeah, you brought up the lead. I feel like at this point, Ty's able to. This is his best part of his run. It seems like the longer the run goes, the 19 got faster and faster compared to Shane on the first run, and now you start to see that in his last lap, a 6:59. Shane was at a 6:60. They're about the same speed right now. Like to your point, Daniel, he's 3.5 seconds back.
You know, something I'm also paying attention is some of the track position, Joey. Like we saw how Jesse Love, Sam Mayer, those are both cars.
Sports this weekend, 61 years old. Won a truck race here at Sonoma in 1998. Had a problem yesterday in practice, hit the wall. They had to go to a backup. He starts in the rear and actually had driven his way inside the top 20. With contact here with Alex LeBay, and he goes for a ride in turn 7.
Yeah, Forrest said is like one of the coolest people you'd ever meet, by the way. He's just a racer, loves doing it there. 61 years old. He doesn't have to be driving race cars. He just loves it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just so cool. Out at Rockets Glen. 2 really tall dudes in a small car. That's how we taught me how to do it. We did it in the rain. So it was quite the adventure with them.
Now our Toyota top performers, Ty Gibbs leading. Sheldon Creed had that early problem, but uses it to their advantage. He's 5th. That track position gained through the cycle of stops at the end of stage 1. Nemechek in the top 10. Chandler Smith just behind him in 11th.
You know, right now that you say Chandler Smith, Adam, you remind me a very cool story with Boris Said. You know, at one point we were teammates in my first year in the Xfinity series, and he was doing a couple road course races, and he couldn't pronounce my last name. He said, "Hey, Dan, he couldn't pronounce my last name. He said, you know what? I'm gonna call you Dan Smith." So for Boris, I'm Dan Smith.
The Celsius onboard camera getting a workout. This is AJ Allmendinger, mentioned earlier. He was 12th after the restart, trying to get by those two Toyotas from Joe Gibbs Racing, Chandler Smith and John Hunter Nemechek.
Did we talk about how important track position is? AJ is back in 12th. You know, I know he'd say his car was real good, but he was still in the top 5 or 6 before that, before the last caution. Right? He lost some track position because of the bad pit stop, also because of the strategy itself, and he's gone nowhere. Just stuck where he's at. You can tell he's got more speed than maybe the 20 in front of him, but I said keeping pace is one thing. Passing them on a road course is tough, and you got to be fast in the right parts of the racetrack. Right? You see right here, he's so far back through the S's, he's loose. He's going to lose a lot of speed through the S's. Well, by the time he gets to the places where he's good, right, breaking into 11, it seems like rolling through the center of 11, he's too far back. He's too far back here. He can't do anything about it. He can't make the pass.
AJ's finished top 10 in 18 consecutive road course races in the Xfinity Series. Now, I will say this grouping, there's a lot to gain if you can get on a run here, because really from Kligerman in 9th on back to AJ, things are really tight. There's the 32 of Austin Green. This is only his 3rd career start, driving a 3rd car for Jordan Anderson Racing. If you go back to Circuit of the Americas, he made his debut, finished top 10. He was top 15 last week in Portland. Looks pretty good here today. He's the son of NASCAR Xfinity Series champion and now NASCAR official David Green. His uncle Jeff also won an Xfinity title. Great to see him doing positive things here in Sonoma. Right now, he's 13th. Leading the way, Ty Gibbs, Love, Mayer, Van Gisbergen, freed the top 5. We're halfway home in stage 2 here at Sonoma.
All right, so 12 laps to go in the second stage. Again, a little bit past the halfway mark in this 25-lap stage 2. Final stage will be 34 laps, right about the length of a full fuel run there. Ty Gibbs, again, is our race leader. Jesse Love is in 2nd. Sam Mayer 3rd. Shane Van Gisbergen 4th. Sheldon Creed in 5th. Cole Custer 6th. Justin Allgaier 7th. Austin Hill 8th. Parker Kligerman 9th. Chandler Smith 10th. John Nemechek at 11th, AJ Allmendinger 12th, Austin Green 13th, Sammy Smith 14th, and Parker Retzlaff is 15th. 16th for Anthony Alfredo, Jeb Burton in 17th, 18th for Ryan Sieg, Josh Williams 19th, and Alex LeBay is 20th. Jeremy Clements in 21st, Preston Partis 22nd, Brandon Jones 23rd, 24th for Kyle Weatherman, Blaine Perkins 25th, Josh Bilicki 26th, Riley Herbst 27th, Ed Jones 28th, Ryan Ellis 29th, and Thomas Annunziato is 30th. Brad Perez 31st, Brendan Poole 32nd, Kyle Sieg is 33rd. 34th for Boris Said, Matt DiBenedetto 35th, Garrett Smithley 36th. Leland Honeyman, after a spin, came to pit road. He is 2 laps down in 37th, and Haley Deegan 7 laps down in 38th. I'm not sure if she's off the racetrack or not. So, interesting there. And no word of that on the broadcast from what I've heard. Gibbs' lead is 2.1 seconds over Jesse Love right now at 80.24 mile per hour average race speed. Early caution was a stage 1 break. Very few drivers have gone for a spin, at least only 2 on camera, those being Boris Said, who is now back to 33rd after being in the top 20, and Leland Honeyman, who I mentioned a couple laps down in 37th. Honeyman just lost another lap as well, so I think he's been on pit road each of the last 3 laps since his spin. Hiccup there right in the middle of talking. Shane Van Gisbergen, 21 laps led, all from the pole. Ty Gibbs has led every green flag lap of stage 2 after the pit strategy of short pitting during the stage break from stage 1. Gibbs is currently led 14 laps, Continues to grow his lead. The gap for second between Jesse Love and Sam Mayer is closing. In fact, the gap between Love, Mayer, and Shane Van Gisbergen all within a second of each other late in stage 2.
Gibbs, Sam Mayer. Whoa. Here we go. They've been racing each other for a long time. Gibbs going after Sam Mayer, and we've got a fight at Martinsville. He didn't let him go. Nothing. Here they are once again, running at the front in an Xfinity race. Ty Gibbs leading. Sam Mayer is third. Something tells me we're not going to get a replay of that today. I just don't think that's going to happen.
You never know. Could happen. I tell you, the battle heated up here from second to fourth again. You see Jesse Love, he's doing all he can do to keep Sam Mayer and Shane Van Gisbergen tight behind him.
This is happening 3 seconds behind our race leader, Ty Gibbs. There goes Van Gisbergen trying to get there. Can't make it happen this time, Regan.
Haven't got love what we're seeing yet again out of Jesse Love this week, continuing to do things that we don't always see rookies do right now. Danny Stockman on the left-handers right now, a little bit tight, but good through the right-handers. A lot more right-handers on this course than lefts.
He's a rookie. He's 19, but his balance of confidence and swagger has hit the sweet spot. Talking about Jesse Love, the results showing it. 3 poles this year, 4 stage victories, and of course that first career win overall coming at Talladega Super Speedway a couple of months ago.
He's doing an amazing job. I mean, honestly, everyone in the top 5. You know, Sheldon quit. 15 minutes ago, he was going backwards. You know, he was having issues with tires, blisterings, and stuff like that. Right now, he's solid in the top 5. He doesn't have a big threat behind, and he has actually pretty decent clean area ahead of him because the 97 is a few seconds ahead. So he's doing a good job staying in the top 5 as well.
You know, something about that blistering in the tires. It's going to be a little longer run here, so that can affect. Blistering is a different thing. So I don't assume that's going to get much better throughout the race. They're going to have to fight that the rest of the day.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that's coming from temperature, right? There is a lot of grip on this racetrack, and with grip comes speed. With speed comes temperature. So those tires are overheating, and that's a reason of those blisters.
Ty Gibbs won the championship in the Xfinity Series 2022. Career victories have come on the road. Here's the best road racer all time, AJ Allmendinger.
It's like, he's overcharging. Well, he's trying to find speed anywhere he can. It's a typical, team. They're looking at SMT and they're like, oh, he's spinning the rear wheels. Well, because he's loose. and he's also pissed off.
Yeah.
That's another part right now, too.
Something about SMT in these races, it's so difficult to see it because there is so many movement on the steering wheel. It's so difficult to track.
We talk about frustration. Another guy that's probably frustrated, the 7 of Justin Allgaier. He was 7th. He's drifted back to 11th. Race for 3rd. Van Gisbergen inside of Mayer in 11th. Can he get there? Drag race up to 1.
Mayer is not giving up on it.
Mayer holds him off.
And Sam knows that. It's only 6 to go in the stage. I mean, you might as well fight this as long as you possibly can. He showed that he has the speed to be able to do that, right? Shane might be a little bit faster, but not way faster. So they're going to keep fighting it out.
They're going to play the strategy game before the end of the stage. You'll be doing it soon. We'll have it for you next. It's leading at Sonoma.
All right, late in the second stage here, side-by-side commercial break on Fox Sports 1. Ty Gibbs with a 3.5-second lead now over Jesse Love in second. Sam Mayer is 4.4 seconds back in third. Shane Van Gisbergen 4.6 seconds off the lead in fourth. And Sheldon Creed is in fifth. He's 7.7 seconds back. 10.1 seconds off the lead is Cole Custer at 6th. Austin Hill 7th. 14.5 seconds off the leaders. Chandler Smith is 15.1 seconds back at 8th. Parker Kligerman at 9th. 16.1 seconds back as well. And John Hunter Nemechek is 10th. He's 16.5 seconds off the lead. That is the top 10 in the intervals between themselves and the race leader, Ty Gibbs, as we're about halfway home in this race. 39 lap of lap 79, so next time by they'll be officially halfway. Stage 2 again will be coming to an end here shortly. Shane Van Gisbergen won stage 1, led the first 21 laps from the pole, And Ty Gibbs, who qualified second, is now the race leader, and he's led every green flag lap of stage 2. So he's catching SVG in the laps led category. He's just 2 behind him now. 19 laps led for Gibbs. At 81.54 mile per hour average race speed, we're only guaranteed one more caution, which would be the stage 2 yellow at lap 45. And the only caution we've had so far today was the lap 20 stage 1 end. Of course, stage yellows are back for NASCAR this season. That was not a thing a year ago until the playoff race at the Roval for the Cup and Xfinity Series. But Truck Cup, Xfinity Series, even on Cup race weekends, again, unlike last year, we will have stage cautions. And we already saw that, obviously, at COTA earlier this season. We're seeing it again this weekend at Sonoma, as this is just the second Cup Series road course date this year. Still a few more to go, obviously, as we get through these summer months. Got the Chicago Street Race coming up in July, Watkins Glen, and then the Roval in the fall.
Stage 2, Xfinity Series at Sonoma. You're watching the zip by now. Hey, later, it's 50. Ty Gibbs leading Jesse Love, Shane Van Gisbergen, Sam Mayer, Sheldon Creed. The rest of the top 10, Cole Custer, Austin Hill, Chandler Smith, Parker Kligerman, and John Hunter Nemechek. 4 to go on the stage, and we're knocking on the door of strategy time here at the end of stage 2.
This is where it's going to get tough. You know, I think if you're wanting to win the race, I'm pretty certain you're going to want to flip it, right? You're going to want to put here with 2 to go. But if you're one of these guys, you know, you can look at these opportunities, and the one that I kind of circle right now, AJ Allmendinger, right? He's trying to win the championship. He's stuck back in 13th anyways. He's too far back to win the race. And winning the race, I think, is out of the question for him at the moment. He might as well take the points if you can. If you can get a stage win, yeah. I don't think, you know, we saw Shane take the points the first stage. I don't think the 97 does it twice, because he's can't get back to the lead right now. He has to maintain the track position, these guys.
I totally agree. I mean, at this point, he's just better just to secure an extra bonus point and at the 10 points of winning the stage than to fight for a top 10, right?
2 drivers inside the top 10 making pit stops. Saw Austin Hill pull off. Sam Mayer had already done the same. Scheduled green flag stops as we head toward the end of stage 2. Josh?
And for Sam Mayer in the one, the early reports of that car were loose on lateral, needed more drive off. They made adjustments at the end of stage 1, got it better. He said, I need just a little bit more to get this car where I need it to be, Regan.
Last time back by, the team asked Austin Hill to update what the car was doing. He told them rear lateral grip was becoming a major issue in turn 7. They told him hit this time. It was a relatively late call, but a good plan ahead of time.
One of the big questions here is you pit with 37 here. AJ
It's going to be tight.
making a pit stop under green. Again, these are scheduled, trying to flip the script. At the end of stage 2, Ty Gibbs stays out. He's the race leader. Shane Van Gisbergen had made his way to 3rd, and he's now trying to track down Jesse Love. He stays on track here.
So I think you saw it right.
I thought he said it right. I thought he would.
I thought so too. And the only thing I can think here too is that, you know, that maybe it's the fuel window, right? This is a long ways to go. We think their fuel window's 34 laps ish, give or take 1 or 2.
Those guys that just pitted, they got to go 37.
So maybe they're looking at it saying, hey, we got to bank on cautions to make it. That is the alternative to this. And if there's a green-white checker, you know you're definitely not going to make it. So this secures your fuel by doing it this way.
The other thing I would say on that, Joey, is that so many teams told me, even though they got 50 minutes of practice yesterday, they never got a real good read on their fuel mileage. And it was going to be after that first stop today when they really had a confident feel for where they were in that regard on how far they could go. And the other thing I would say, this race has a green flag feel. I mean, right now you would say we're not going to get the caution laps you need in the final stage to go the distance if you're tight on fuel.
What we're going to see is a big, heavy braking into turn 11. Well, you see Jesse does a good job off of turn 10, right? The corner right into this before this. Oh, but he's in the corner a little bit too high into the corner. Jesse's going to get a good run off the high side of turn 11. Could be another player in there, Daniel.
I think he's gonna
Oh, Jesse gave it to him.
There
Looked
goes
like it.
Van Gisbergen to second.
I think he let him go. I don't know.
Oh, is that it? Yeah.
But the excitement, I give you an example for the
I gotta tell you, it was impressive to me. And I don't know why it happened to one.
That's what I was just thinking. Like, why did he do that?
Jesse Love's a nice guy, but I wouldn't have let it go. Here's 97 radio.
Last lap of the stage.
Yeah. Next time on.
What? There was some confusion there, it sounds like, on the strategy play. Final lap, stage 2. Ty Gibbs going to lead this one wire to wire after flipping stage 1.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Do you guys think that the 19 meant to do that?
Well, from the sound of it, it sounds like maybe not.
Well, but you guys, now we have to take all these guys to lunch next week. They're gonna put a show for all of us.
And only 4 guys pitted, so there's not a lot to be lost by
Yeah.
staying out taking the points. Ty Gibbs wins stage 2. Van Gisbergen, who had that electric move on Jesse Love to get second, comes home with the runner-up spot. Love is third. Creed, Custer complete the top 5. What can you tell us, Regan?
Man, if the plan was definitely to pit for the 97 car. The guys were on the ready, on the ball. They were getting ready for him to come down pit road. I believe what he was doing was following the 19, anticipating the 19 was going to pit, but I don't believe the 19 ever had intentions to pit before the stage was over right there.
How about this pit box camera? You see Regan hanging out down there doing his report? That was great. Well, like we said, only 4 guys did the stop, so this is not going to be a huge detriment when it comes to restarting for the final stage. Ty Gibbs in charge right now.
Yeah, I think that's where the lack of experience comes from that team as a whole, not necessarily on SVG there, but just, from top the pit box with it being a new team in the Xfinity Series in that 97 car, and just not having the wherewithal to know that the stage end with 2 to go, you can't pit anymore. So obviously Gibbs didn't come into the pit, but I think he still could have ended up coming in. I mean, he was within a few seconds of Gibbs. I think he would have hit the commitment line before Gibbs got to the start-finish line, which would have made his pit stop legal, but still didn't come in that time by either. So, yeah, interesting situation. Again, only 4 cars short-pitted stage 1. I believe 7 did that earlier. So, they're not going to be too far back in the running order, but it's going to be tough to pass. Again, SVG took up until the last lap of the stage to get up to 2nd from 8th. And he dominated stage 1 from the pole. So track position's huge here. Obviously, with the repave, it's going to matter even more. And we'll see how this second stage is going to end up kind of shaping up here. Down to 34 laps to go at Sonoma in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race. The zip by now, pay later 250. You're listening live on KRC. We'll have more than likely the final pit stops of the day coming up shortly. Jim Troyer, Steve Reed, thanks for tuning in as well. $112 votes, by the way, for those of you that voted in the poll for who you think is going to win. Make that 113 now. We're at the end of stage 2, which is usually the stopping point for that poll. So 57% of you, of the 113 votes, took Shane Van Gisbergen to win today. 16% goes to AJ Allmendinger, the 16 car, like that. Ty Gibbs at 12% of the votes, and other at 14% of the votes, so somebody other than Gibbs, Allmendinger, or Van Gisbergen. Which is interesting when you consider that it's been all SVG and Ty Gibbs all day today. First and second in stage 1, first and second at stage 2. SVG won stage 1, Gibbs wins stage 2, and now here we are. Good points day for SVG. Might have a shot of getting inside the top 10 in points. Remember, the top 10 in the regular season standings get playoff points at the end of the regular season as well. So, not a bad year in his rookie campaign for SVG, and he's racking up some points here 2 weeks in a row with these road courses. Again, final pit stop of the race will be coming up. Edge of the pit window for those that pitted before the end of the stage. So, this is going to be interesting. A lot of teams probably going to take 4 tires with the slight blistering we've seen so far. Maybe there's a chance it'll be splash and go to still cycle out into the lead for drivers that did pit before the end of the last stage to cycle back out outside the top 10. Those drivers would include Sam Mayer and there were a few others that also did it, trying to look down the leaderboard. I think Riley Herbst, Brandon Jones also pitted.
Switch.
Here's fun tomorrow afternoon. You won here 2 years ago, and we're gonna have some fun here tomorrow.
Absolutely. I mean, this race has already been entertaining on the Xfinity side. You know, the Cup race is going to be, everyone's going to be very intense. It's a lot on the line. You know, we need a win pretty bad to the point. I'd really like to get one if we're in position to do that. That would be fantastic to get one out here in wine country. Drink a little wine.
Yeah, why not?
Wine with Coca-Cola, does it go good?
It goes.
I think it does.
It goes.
Cheers.
I'm kind of sneak peeking on the pit stop earlier when Regan Smith was doing it down there, and you two have got the proper product placement as well. So well done.
Absolutely.
Well done.
Nothing but the best, you guys.
Pit stop's happening now, Regan.
Adam, the 2-car, Jesse Love continuing to have a solid day right now. The car lacks a little bit of turn right now through the middle of the corner, so he's giving up some speed getting into the corner so that he can exit better than 97 to Shane Van Gisbergen. Right now, he likes the changes that they had the last time to his car to make it come to life earlier. No changes this time.
For the 00, Cole Cussler, he told the team, we got this car much better than it was at the start of the race. I just need a little bit more lateral grip if our tie team is coming off a stage 2 victory. He said the car just a little bit free. They said, wait on the fuel when we drop.
Race off pit road, important to establish track position as we begin this final stage. A few drivers had already made pit stops. Custer, the first off, he goes +4.
Yeah, Mayer did come back down for fuel.
Green took only 2 tires, so I assume they come back here, take the other 2 tires, and top off with fuel. We'll follow up there in an issue for Jesse Love. Oh, man, you hate that for the rookie.
Oh, missed it. He got in.
Yeah, he recovered nicely, didn't he?
That could have been a lot worse. That was kind of the last second, like, oh, there it is. Good thing he didn't get hit into the pit stall for sure.
We'll reset all of this and get the restart. The final stage when we come back to Sonoma on FS1.
Alrighty, here we go. Setting up for the final stage at the Sonoma Raceway for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Ty Gibbs. Not the leader anymore following these pit stops. Cole Custer actually won the race out of pit road. Shane Van Gisbergen was second. There were a few cars, obviously, that pitted before the end of the stage that did not come back onto pit road. Here, Sam Mayer was one of them. He comes back onto top off, which he cycled to third out of the pits. So, realistically, where he was running before that, which I believe was fourth, he only really gained 1 position out of this. But hey, a position is a position. So maybe not a bad call. I will say 1 position in the finishing order, but he did sacrifice the stage points to do so, so maybe it wasn't worth it. Won't matter much if he ends up winning, but he is locked into the playoffs with a win already, and he is outside the top 10 in points, so I mentioned earlier that the playoff points go to the top 10 in the regular season standings as well. Obviously 15 for winning, but then 1 point per position from second on the way back to 10th. Our second diecast showing of the stream here today. We have one during stage 2 for the stage breaks during the live commentary streams. The live commentary stream for the Cup Series qualifying session at Sonoma had gotten canceled. I had missed the stream, unfortunately. It wasn't at my house to be able to get that out to you. So with that being the case, we will get the diecast showing here. This driver ran full-time in the Xfinity Series for championships, or at least competed for championships in the later going of his NASCAR career. And that driver I'm talking about is Elliott Sadler. This is one of my favorite paint schemes from him. This was in his Evernham days. You can see the Dodge Charger. This is from 2009, Car of Tomorrow. And I really like the Best Buy schemes over the years in NASCAR. I thought Jeff Green in the 66 had a really good one. I like this one. Matt Kenseth's 2012 paint scheme that he had Best Buy for. Of course, won the Daytona 500 with that car. Really like that as well. So yeah, I got a Best Buy car, and you can see the autograph on the windshield here from Elliott Sadler as well. Bought it with the signature already on the car. I will say credit to him for having this color marker, or whoever maybe handed him the marker, or however it worked out, because usually I see like black, and it's usually on like another darker color with the windshield, because they have like the black spokes, in it. It's a darker tint, so usually it doesn't pop very well. So having the chrome or silver Sharpie or marker there definitely helped with the signage of it. But yeah, there's that classic boxy Car of Tomorrow look. Got a lot of 164 scale Car of Tomorrow cars, and we'll start breaking into the 164 scale diecasts next week. As when I get through this week's stream, I think there's only one more 124 scale diecast that I currently have that I will not have shown yet. So yeah, next weekend we'll get into those 164 that I have not showed on the channel yet.
Fuel. Or, I've had so many fun moments in the last 10 years covering the Xfinity Series, wrapping it today in Sonoma. There's the stage point breakdown. And let's go back to pit stops. We were talking about Sam Mayer and them going plus 13. 19 of Ty Gibbs went in the wrong direction. Tough stop for this group.
Ouch. Couldn't get the left rear off.
Career time taking it off, but just as much of a hard time trying to put it on. Just missing lug nuts.
Got out of his rhythm.
The tire stop was just very messy. I mean, they were supposed to go for fuel, but then they were full because of the mistakes, and they still wait for fuel like it wasn't just too messy.
So they had the issue on pit road. He goes from winning the stage to restarting outside the top 10.
Hey.
There's a cutie in the crowd. Some other penalties that we need to pay off here. Speeding for John Hunter Nemechek, Jeremy Clements. Hitting outside the box for the 98 of Riley Herbst. They were penalized again.
Nemechek was intense.
Violation for Boris Sinek in the 17th.
Aww.
So back to the NFL Conference Championship. As the San Antonio Brahmas take on the St. Louis Battlehawks, the United Football League playoffs continue tomorrow. It's 7 Eastern on Fox. Drivers that flip the stage and have track position as we go green here for the final stage. Austin Hill on the front row with Austin Green right behind him. A.J. Allmendinger, Cole Custer.
Now, something to be said about these guys that flip the stage.
All right, Austin Hill, Austin Green, two Austins on the front row here. Austin Green and Austin Hill, I believe, are both on the strategy back in the last stage as well. But this time they're going to be on the front row. Cole Custer and SVG, 4th and 5th after winning the races off of pit row with their 4-tire stops. Race for the win is on the line here. 30 to go as we're back underway at Sonoma. Is this the final restart? Hill going to get out in front of the field into the the carousel, I should say, up the hill into turns 1 and 2. Green side by side for second with Allmendinger. SVG 3 wide underneath Custer and Mayer. Gets by Custer. Now he's on the outside of Sam Mayer. And all over the back bumper of Austin Green. Oh, one car goes for a spin. Everybody's wide. Out in turn 4A, we've got a parking lot. And this is going to bring us under yellow. Huge crash there. A lot of damaged cars. Nowhere to go. They're still wrecking. Everybody trying to drive through that dust bowl, and they're still running into each other. Ty Gibbs has severe damage. One of the contenders for the win. Debris everywhere. It's going to be a lengthy cleanup. Our first incident of the race.
Strategy, but also this process lost in a bad pit stop. He gets caught up correct.
Saw the damage for Kyle Weatherman in the 91.
Josh Williams.
Williams had finished top 10 in back-to-back races.
Let's see what happened here. This happens towards the middle of this pack here. You see Chandler Smith get
log jam
in the left rear, gets kind of hooked there with Jeff Burton, and gets him turned to the left when he wanted to turn to the right.
That was a mess.
Look at him. Everyone stopped.
It's a parking lot right there. The 19 was doing some donuts.
19 is really having a fit there.
Look, Boris said, they just hanging in the back after the penalty. He said, I'll take all these positions right. Oh, man.
Contact there, as he's just trying to drive by cars.
Just watching all those penalty cars that were behind the mess and
here it is. Look at the 81. It's kind of out of our screen here where it starts.
Yeah, he's talking around.
I mean, and at this point, it's just like everybody's just. At this point, you gotta stop. Everyone stop.
There's a parking lot right there. Not just that, but it's a parking lot in a corner that is kind of blind. You know, you cannot see much other than dust.
Yeah, it's an uphill progression.
In the middle of all that.
Here's another angle you can see. Look at the 81 right here.
Yeah, right there.
He gets hooked in the left rear.
By the 27, right? Yeah.
The 27 was also getting pushed by Ty Gibbs, I think, too.
It's tight there, right? But that's what gets him pointed in the wrong direction, and everything just happens from there.
How about Jesse Love able to drive through in the 2-car down on the inside before everybody else got connected?
You know, very unfortunate for Chandler Smith with the 81 because he slowed down. He was trying to wait for the whole action to happen, and then he was going, and his teammate was doing donuts, and then he hit him.
We saw Brandon Jones done for the day, walking into the ambulance. Same for Josh Williams. Jones was a runner-up 2 weeks ago at Charlotte, but for a second consecutive week has crashed on a road course. The 50 is Preston Pardis. 31 for Parker Retzloff looks okay there. 26 is Ed Jones coming off his career best run last Saturday in Portland. Third caution of the day happens on the restart to begin our final stage. Austin Hill is your race leader.
Well, any worries of being tight on fuel to the end of the race with the length of this final stage being right at the edge of the pit window, these drivers are going to be able to save fuel under this lengthy caution for cleanup after a big wreck on the restart to begin stage 3 in turn 4A. We are going to be under yellow for a while. There was debris dragged pretty much all the way around this racetrack, but especially in the next couple corners following this gigantic wreck. Hard to tell exactly how many cars were in it, but there definitely was a lot. While we wait on the car count for exactly who was involved, we'll take an ad break while they have gone to commercial break. Again, you're listening live to the Zip Buy Now, Pay Later 250 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series right here on KRC. Be sure to hit the like button as well. We're at 74 likes. Our goal is to get to 100 before the end of the stream. We've got around that many people watching right now. We definitely have more people watching than what we have likes, so be sure to hit that like button again so we can get to that goal of 100 before the end of this race. Big time wreck. First accident of the race as well. The first two yellows were the stage ends at lap 20 and lap 45. A race progression breakdown. This caution flew at lap 49. Again, first lap after the restart, turn 4A. 3 laps led for the current race leader, Austin Hill. Shane Van Gisbergen led 21 laps from the pole, and Ty Gibbs has led the most today with 26 laps led, now taken out after being in this incident. He was back mid-pack because of a slow pit stop after winning stage 2. Otherwise, he would have been up in the top 5, I'm sure, with Custer and SVG. All the drivers involved in the incident would include Ty Gibbs, Brandon Jones, Parker Retzlaff, Josh Williams. Got to look at the driver lineup here for some of these part-time rides, see who else was in it. Looks like Preston Pardis was in the wreck. Jeb Burton. 91, I believe, is Josh Balicki. No, Balicki's in the 92, but he was also in it. Yeah, Balicki was in it. Riley Herbst was in it. Chandler Smith. I like how the 19 car is on here twice. Ryan Sieg was in it. The 26 of Ed Jones. Looked like more cars than that, but a lot of them had to stop to miss the accident. 91 is Kyle Weatherman, by the way. So 1, 2, 3. And we had 12 drivers in total involved in this crash. I believe it. It may have been more than that, to be completely honest. But at least 12 drivers involved. Some of them done for the day. The drivers who are done would be Jeb Burton, Josh Williams, Brandon Jones, Sammy Smith. Haley Deacon still on track, 7 laps down. I think she was on pit road during a lengthy period of time under green flag for a mechanical issue. Back at stage 1, I believe. And Leland Honeyman gets the free pass with this caution and with the stage yell at the end of stage 2. So he's back on the lead lap now. Ed Jones, who short pitted back at stage 1, he actually got trapped a lap down with it, got the free pass back at that caution. So we will be back to 33 cars on the lead lap.
Aerial coverage today provided by Goodyear, powering every mile and every moment on NASCAR's victory. Goodyear, more driven. So I'm looking up there at those drivers that did it at lap 42 under green, flipped the stage, and they needed caution laps, and they are getting them. Austin Hill leads. A.J. Allmendinger is second. Austin Green in third. And now we look at some more of the banged-up race cars that were involved in the lap 50 crash. There were a host of them, and I said Jesse Love snuck through there. He also got some damage. There's a 29 that was involved. That's Blaine Perkins. And it's a long list.
I mean, there's a lot. Now, some of the damage is bigger than others.
Right.
Not all these drivers are out, but I mean, a fair amount of them are. But some of them just got a little bit of damage. Some of them that can continue racing. Others are going to be injured for sure, and you'll be able to limp around the rest of the day. And others are just done.
So somebody must have leaked a lot of oil through the S's on the racetrack, because definitely the wreck wasn't in the S's. Now we have a
Maybe multiple cars
up there in the S's.
Under caution, all guys with ninth.
Here's the part that's really frustrating on that restart. I'm literally on the tail of the 97, hitting inventory 2. Right now, and I'll be high.
There. So let's see how that happens. You see right there, Shane, third row and fourth row. Shane's in the third row outside, and the 7 right behind him, with Justin Allgaier.
At one point, Shane did a great move on the 0-0. I think he made 3 wide, right before corner 3. Yeah, right there, he helped him up a little bit. That was the difference.
Yep, so there's one row. Justin gets in the grass a little bit there. He's not going to be able to pass Sheldon Creed, and Parker's ahead of him at the time of caution.
Yeah.
It's all it takes right now. If that runs out at turn 7, maybe he's up 2 spots from there, but sometimes the timing of a caution just doesn't play into your hand the way you'd like it to.
Yeah, totally.
It's going to be a long cleanup, so we'll step aside. Going to be right around 25 laps to go when we return to the green flag. Hill, Allmendinger, Green, Van Gisbergen, Mayer, the top 5.
All right. Well, there you have it. Again, Austin Hill is your race leader. A.J. Allmendinger second. Austin Green third. Shane Van Gisbergen fourth. Sam Mayer fifth. That is the top 5 in the running order with 27 laps to go. Under caution for a very big crash on the restart to begin stage 3 at lap 49 of 79 in this race with 30 to go. 12 cars involved in it. And half of those are out. So Ty Gibbs, Jeb Burton, Josh Williams, Brandon Jones, Sammy Smith, all out of the race from that incident. Other drivers that were involved in it that continue on would be Ed Jones, Riley Herbst, Preston Pardis, Josh Balicki. Parker Rutzlaff continues. Ryan Sieg is still in the race. And Ed Jones would be the other driver who is still in the race following that wreck. Definitely does not help Brandon Jones in the point standings, neither for Sammy Smith. Sammy Smith was the last driver above the cutoff line, and now he's going to end up with a 37th place finish. Brandon Jones was one of the first drivers below the cutoff line, and he's also out. So on the bright side of it, at least the driver you're competing with is also out, but drivers around him in points, both just in front, are going to slip further away, and behind are going to close that gap significantly, assuming that they stay out of trouble in this one. Some of those drivers that were just ahead of the cutoff line, above those two that I just named of Jones and Smith, would be Parker Kligerman and Sheldon Creed, and they're both in the top 10, 7th, 8th. They've scored stage points today. So yeah, it's going to be big. And Ryan Sieg is below the 9 and the 8 of Sammy Smith, Brandon Jones in points. He was over 30 points below them. He is also in the top 10 and 10. And I'm not sure how many stage points Ryan Sieg might have scored. He was actually involved in this incident. He might have been one of the cars that were stopped and maybe barely made contact with another car, but he has not come back down onto pit road. Wanting to keep him out there, knowing that his counterparts in the race to get into the playoffs on points are out. If he can salvage a top 10 finish out of this just like that alone, he might be above the cutoff line when we begin next weekend's race, as the Xfinity Series will be headed to Iowa.
This is just
Much deserved win. Obviously, a fast couple. He's upset. You know, the Jays are sticking with it today.
We're celebrating all these wins, drivers that are now locked into the playoffs. But the points leader halfway through the season is the man that won the title a year ago, Mr. Consistency, Cole Custer. He is 6th today. Let's go down to Regan.
Well, I had a tough couple of weeks for Brandon Jones, unfortunately, out of the race, out of the care center. We know you're checked out and fine. What is it like when you're caught in the middle of a wreck like that? You can't really see what's happening, and the field stops in front of you.
Yeah, the worst part about it too, right here, you're in gear and you're getting pushed from behind, and a lot of stuff's going on there. So, yeah, just a product of nothing we could really do. I think again, kind of caught up in two things there past 2 weeks that hurt pretty bad, especially with how hard we've been preparing for these road courses, how much time we're putting in to try to get better at this, and to come up short and have no result to show for it hurts a little bit there. But always big thanks to Menards. Sheldon was on our hood today, so wish we could have got a better finish for him, a little bit better points today as well. But no, we just got to go on, and Iowa's coming up. Really good racetrack for us, so look forward to getting back to some ovals where we can go try and win.
Thanks, Brandon.
Brandon Jones came in today 23 points below the cut line, 14th. So no doubt some work to do throughout the summer if he's going to be able to run for the championship in the fall.
20 points back, by the way, was Ryan Sieg.
AJ Allmendinger, he's had an eventful day.
For it. He's in a better mood now than he was earlier.
I used to do this earlier, but let's try it now. AJ Allmendinger, Joey Logano up here in the Fox booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Well, it seems like you've had quite the eventful day, but somehow you guys have figured out how to get some track position. I'm assuming you needed some cautions to get to the end here. Can you make it on fuel?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be close. I think we can make it on field. Green and white characters might be a little bit different on the story. Just trying to make the best of the day. I don't think we got enough speed to win the race, but do everything we can to get the full of these. That's it.
Well, you're pretty close to that clean air, man, so maybe take that run with it.
Appreciate it, man.
Now let's get the rest of the story here from his crew chief, down to Josh.
Well, on the other side of the coin, it's his crew chief, Alex Janssen. We know it's been frustrating for AJ listening on the radio. Have you kept him in the game? And he said he thinks he has enough fuel to make it to the end, does he?
Yeah, before this caution, it was a little questionable, but we feel really good now after having these caution laps. It's been a long day, and AJ's fought really hard inside of that Celsius Chevrolet today. So, with the help of Coleman Presley spotting up there, we've tried to keep him in line, keep him, doing his job and focusing on what he needs to. And we've got really good track position here, and hopefully that helps some of the handling we fought all day.
Appreciate it. Good luck the rest of the way, Alex.
Alex giving a shout out to the spotter stand and Coleman Presley, who's been a part of our coverage over the years here on Fox.
You know, Coleman has a hard job between me and AJ keeping our heads in the right spot. He knows me really well, and I think he knows AJ probably just as well, and knows the right words to say at the right times. And sometimes you got to whip the horse a little bit. You know, you got to fire it up, get it going. He knows what to do.
Like Coleman has worked with you. I mean, he's working with you, Joy. He's working with AJ. He used to work with me before I spoke English. I mean, he has had some big challenges right there.
Hey, Brandon Jones reference next week going to Iowa. Good track for him. Coverage shifts over to the NBC family. It'll be on USA next Saturday afternoon, Iowa Speedway. Back on a short track, 3:30 Eastern Time. I was very optimistic that we were going to get a restart with 25 to go. It's actually going to be 24 to go. As we'll get the 1 to go up in turn 7, and then we'll do the choose down around turn 9. Real quick down to Regan.
Ty Gibbs, unfortunately, out of the race after leading 26 laps. Ty, a little trouble on the pit stop, got you back in the field. What's the frustration level as fast as your car was?
Yeah, it's definitely frustrating for sure. You know, I don't really know what happened. I haven't really seen a good replay, but I know somebody spun out and everybody just booked it and held it wide open. So we got caught up in that and then got hit like 6 other times after that. So it was just unfortunate, but we had a great car. I feel like I learned a lot. Thank you to Starkey and Sound Gear and the Swallow family for letting me run this race, and Toyota and Monster Energy. Definitely not the most ideal way to end it, but I feel like we're really solid and wish we could stay out there and had a shot to win, but that's just the way it went.
Thanks, Ty.
He mentioned the support of the Swallich family. William Swallich going to make his Xfinity debut later this year when he turns 18.
But he kept his foot in the gas after the wreck, no doubt.
He made everyone say what up, and I don't know. He definitely did.
He did for sure. All right, here we go. We're going to line them back up. This is a huge restart. We talked to AJ Allmendinger. It's going to be key for him to get the clean air if he wants a chance to win it. Austin Hill, we've seen him have some speed at some points during this, and you got Shane right there in the second row.
Still a long way to go here at Sonoma. Pace car is off, 24 remaining. Allmendinger, Austin Hill from
This is a good opportunity for AJ. You know, if he can get some clean air here, I can change the game for him.
He's going to try to hang the best he can to still be too wide when he gets to turn 2. He's going to apparently be there, not going to quite get the lead here.
Austin Green going in the wrong direction. Van Gisbergen through to 3rd. Cole Custer up to 4th. Hill in front of Allmendinger. 21 in the race lead.
And I'm telling you, if you're AJ Allmendinger right here, there's 24 laps to go. You know, it might be a long time, but he cannot afford to give up a spot here. He's got to go and try to get that lead. 100% aggression right now.
I agree. I mean, right now, this is for the win, right? That with only 24 laps to go, the sooner that you can make the pass and position yourself, the better you're going to be. And already right now, Austin Hill is looking pretty good. And already we have seen how valuable it is to have the track position.
Switching off to Green, lost a few spots in the restart. He settled in to 5th. Here we go, 2nd.
Tight.
Van Gisbergen.
Their teammates early and
97 in the runner-up spot behind Austin Hill with 23 to go.
And Shane, the same thing. He realizes I can't waste time here. I'm going to lose touch of Austin Hill. I got to make the pass as quick as he can. Now, he did use some muscle. You can see there, AJ's pretty frustrated about that. He tried to get back on his back bumper. He tried. He definitely muscled him through turn 11 for sure.
And lost in it all, the 0-0 of Cole Custer.
And you see Shane before that making the pass, but you see the 0-0 also going around. But something that Shane Van Gisbergen does all the time that I've noticed is I've tried studying him because he's so good at this. Late moves. Look at him go down to the corner here. It's a late move into the corner in the braking zone. Which unfortunately, I think the same thing happened.
might lose a points lead because of that spin, and Austin Hill in the lead.
Yeah, he was the one that got hammered really good on the backside of that caution moments ago. Real tight for the race lead.
Austin Hill's in trouble. He's trying really hard. He's got that instant tire locked up. With the amount of time that Shane gained in the one lap there was pretty big.
What's the balance here of patience versus aggression for Van Gisbergen? Because you have a fast car, you got a long way to go. It's a long run on these tires. You want that track position, but man, you want to do something that's going to take you out of contention. How do you balance all of that?
Yeah, I mean, right now he's sitting in a pretty nice spot. He really wanted to get to second place to be able to do not lose sight of the lead, right? That's why he made that aggressive move on his teammate AJ Allmendinger. But right now, I think that he can take a little bit more time because he knows that he's faster. With that being said, he shouldn't take too long because then who knows, how his car is going to react in the long run. It can be better, it can be worse. So the sooner that he can get it done, the better it's going to be.
Biggest mover since the restart. Sponsored by Credit One. Saw John Hunter Nemechek +8. Pretty good effort by Parker Retzlaff as well.
The 16 was just sideways.
Yeah, that car is
sideways everywhere.
See how close this guy's get to that concrete barrier, man. You touch that barrier, it's gonna be. Luckily, no one has hit it yet that we've seen.
21 to go. Mentioned Allmendinger back there in third. Let's finish top 10 and 18 consecutive road course starts. And in fifth right now, Parker Kligerman. He's been top 10 8 in a row on the road. Really solid so far for him in 2024.
By the way, remember that the top two have history. Coda earlier this year.
Corner 11. This is the first time that he's been in this situation. With pressure with the fastest car from behind. He caught that he was in the same situation and he was able to handle the pressure very well.
I don't know about handling it well, but
credit because I don't think he's as fast as the 97 and he's hanging in there.
Got to give credit to Sheldon Freed in that 18 team as well because they had that unscheduled pit stop early, but they made it work with the strategy just flipping stage one. That established some track position, and here he is in the 7th position. As we go back to the lead, Van Gisbergen is there off of turn 11. Going to be 20 laps to go. As we cross the start-finish line, Hill, Van Gisbergen, Allmendinger, Mayer, Kligerman, your top 5 in wine country.
all right, so 20 laps to go in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Sonoma in the Zip Buy Now Pay Later 250. We'll go through the full field running order in the closing laps of this one. Again, Austin Hill is currently your race leader. Shane Van Gisbergen hot on his heels in second, just 0.4 of a second off the lead. AJ Allmendinger is third, Sam Mayer fourth, and Parker Kligerman in the top 5 for the first time today in fifth. He's 4.5 seconds off the lead. Sheldon Creed is in sixth, Austin Green 7th, Justin Allgaier 8th, Jesse Love 9th, and John Hunter Nemechek is 10th. Anthony Alfredo 11th, Ryan Sieg 12th, Alex LeMay 13th, 14th for Parker Retzlaff, Riley Herbst is 15th, 16th for Brennan Poole, Boris Said in 17th, Blaine Perkins 18th, Jeremy Clements 19th, Ryan Ellis 20th, 21st for Brad Perez, Thomas Annunziato and 22nd, Kyle Sieg 23rd, Preston Pardis 24th, Ed Jones 25th. Matt DiBenedetto 26th, Cole Custer 27th. After his spin on the restart, he was 4th. Garrett Smithley is 28th, Chandler Smith 29th, and Kyle Weatherman is 30th. Leland Honeyman 31st, Josh Bilicki 32nd, and he is the last car in the lead lap. Haley Deegan 7 laps down in 33rd. Sammy Smith, I think, is actually still in this race. 9 laps down in 34th now. Ty Gibbs, Jeb Burton, Josh Williams, Brandon Jones all out of the race, with Gibbs finishing 35th, Jeb Burton 36th, Josh Williams 37th, and Brandon Jones 38th. 26 laps led for Ty Gibbs, 21 for SVG from the pole. Gibbs started second. Austin Hill has led 13 laps, all to begin stage 3. And he's probably got less fuel in his car than everybody else, but it is looking as if everybody should be able to make it to the end, with, of course, being where we're at right now, and having all those caution laps both during the Stage 2 end break and during that big caution we had with the 12-car incident in Turn 4A on the restart from the start of stage 3. So with all that being said, we will take an ad break while we continue to go down the winning laps of this Xfinity Series race at Sonoma.
Continues out in front of Shane Van Gisbergen. Let's hear from the race leaders camp. Here's 21 radio.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed here, just watching the last few laps, Austin Hill's really good through the first, 7 corners. He's really good to off of 4 here into turn 7. That's his strength. Shane's strength is through the S's. He's able to get, seem like catch him a little bit through the S's. So turn 11 is going to be the point where I think Austin's going to have to be on guard. Well, right there, you see him. He's able to stretch a nice, healthy lead right there. He's not going to have to worry about it this lap.
This is the point of the run that Shane is saying, "Oh my God, this is not going to be as easy as I thought," right? Because he can be faster, but I feel like he's using his rear tires more than Austin Hill. So, he's going to have to be gentle.
SVG now more than a second behind Austin Hill. Here's their radio.
He must have an alternator issue, possibly, if he has low voltage. I'm sure it's not costing him speed yet, but he's still got 17 laps to go. All you can do at that point is shut off fans, right? You don't want to shut off your brake fans, but you may have to. You're going to shut off any comfort fans that you have. Your driver comfort fans will come off for sure.
Good battle for fifth. 48 Parker Kligerman, 18 Sheldon Creed.
Further.
Little nudge. It's still not going to complete the pass. Yeah, you see he came from pretty far back, but also Parker Kligerman locked the inside tire and kind of opened up the door for him there. So that's Sonoma turn 11 for you.
Two drivers fighting for their first career victory.
I tell you, as much as AJ Allmendinger's been complaining about his car, he's hanging there, 2.5 seconds back. He really hasn't lost touch of the 2 leaders yet.
So things getting racy behind Creed. He's up to 5th, and Austin Green giving a hard time to Parker Kligerman for that 6th spot. You have a big time call to that 32. Young driver getting it done in only his 3rd career start.
Very impressive. You see him pressuring these guys that have been doing this stuff much longer than him.
Also has thrown he has some experience in the Trans Am series. They won some races with IndyCar, and those cars are not the same as the Xfinity cars, but they're similar. So this is his back. The big heavy stock cars in road course racetrack. So not surprised that he's doing good, but definitely he's racing that he's doing it for.
There's a path to success now if you can win on road courses, because you win one of these races, it gets you in the playoffs. We've seen it with Shane Van Gisbergen, who delivered last week at Portland. So opportunity comes your way. Who knows what Austin Green could make of it with 6 road course races on the schedule.
What I'm seeing on the 97 of Shane Van Gisbergen is that he's definitely freer, but he rotates in the time corners much better than the 21. So I think that he's really understanding where his advantages
and those lap cars are slow.
So at this point, he's starting to realize that definitely he's not going to be with full drive, because the 21 is pretty good there.
The other thought here is when they hit it. And at lap 42 is when Austin Hill came down. Lap 47 into the stage is when Shane Van Gisbergen made his last pit stop. The more SVG pushes him, the less opportunity to save fuel, if in fact that is an issue for Austin Hill. Not a factor now, but as we get down closer to 5 or so laps remaining, that could be a part of the equation.
Well, it could be coming down to the move right now. Shane's going to get through turn 10. The corner coming up right here. This right-hander. If he can get through this corner good and stay in touch with him, he's pretty far back. I don't think he can outbrake him from that far back. He's thinking about it. And what he's doing there is
he'll lock the tires.
He's got him in his mirror. He must have watching that like,
yep.
What's going to hit me? Made him drive in harder.
Jesse Love, off course. He's running inside
Oh,
the
careful.
top 10, and we get a caution.
Whoa.
You know that's a tricky about it, mate, because if you go out of that corner by yourself, you can cause a big accident. We saw that in practice. So NASCAR, big heads up right there.
Fourth caution of the afternoon. Here's Jesse Love.
And that looks to me like he got loose on the entry. You know, that corner entry of turn 10 is so challenging because you're going really fast. It's the fastest part of the racetrack as you go through turn 9 right before that. Then you got to transfer weight. You're turning left, you got to transfer weight to the right really, really fast, and you're going fast at the same time. If you do it too quick, you spin out. It's really easy to do. It's really sketchy into that corner for sure.
Sketchy, doesn't work.
Let's go to radio for Shane Van Gisbergen, second with 14 to go.
He's talking about the color of the switches. Obviously, that's kind of what they're talking about. Well, it's just easier for the drivers that are reading each one of them when you're trying to go fast. You don't have much time to look at it, so you can look at some colors quick and it flips them off.
Everyone has a set of tires here. Now, I mean, track position has been enormous, right? But
I'm not betting.
Yeah, I wouldn't think, but I had to bring it up. And I would say, too, for those drivers that had hit it earlier, another caution helps that fuel gauge, which could be critical. Going to be right around 10 to go when we return to the green flag.
Side-by-side commercial break under caution once again here as we have hit our fourth yellow of the race. A spin from Jesse Love in turn 10. This is our second caution for incident on the day. We'll have another wild Sonoma restart coming up. 29 cars on the lead lap. I believe Leland Honeyman going to get the free pass again with this caution. No, actually the 91 of Kyle Weatherman gets the free pass with this incident. So Weatherman will be back on the lead lap. There were a lot of cars that had damage from that big accident on lap 49 that were getting lapped right before that last caution came out. Tough spin also for Jesse Love. That has dropped him out of the top 10. He's now back to 16th. And how about a shout out to Boris Said? Started deep in the field after crashing in practice. He's up to 15th, 61 years old. 15th for Boris Said. The road course ringers still got it. They mentioned earlier in the broadcast he is a winner at Sonoma in NASCAR as he won a truck race here in '98. And maybe he has an outside shot at a top 10 here if he can survive these later restarts. Gene Huddleston, thanks for tuning into the stream. Steve Reed, some of the others that I might not have shouted out from earlier that have been in the chat. Coyle, B. Dobson. Thanks for tuning in. Delbert Wilson. Jeremy Granger Jr., Ellie, and many others. Thanks for tuning in. We're up to 81 likes on the stream. Our goal is to get to 100. We're 19 likes shy. We have about that many people watching right now, so be sure to hit that like button again so we can get to that goal on the likes counter. Our Cup Series action tomorrow will begin at 3 p.m. Eastern with our pre-race. And you can watch the NASCAR Cup Series race tomorrow on your local Fox affiliate. If you're in the U.S., of course. TSN in Canada, and I'm not sure exactly where you can watch the race outside of North America, but you can listen live right here. And again, we'll go live at 3 p.m. Eastern, our pre-race coverage. This is the final race on Fox, broadcasted for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. I haven't mentioned that at all over the course of this stream. I have mentioned it is the last weekend this season. Fox will be covering the NASCAR Cup and NASCAR Xfinity Series. They will continue to broadcast the early portion of the season for the NASCAR Cup Series under the new TV contract beginning next season in 2025 and continuing on through 2031. Over those next 7 years, though, the NASCAR Xfinity Series will be fully exclusive to the CW network. With that being the case, this is the last NASCAR Xfinity Series race on Fox. So they've been having a lot of some of their better calls throughout the recent years. Of course, NASCAR Xfinity Series has been on Fox for 10 years now. 11, really. 2014 to now. 11 years they've been on the air. 2015, excuse me. Well, no, actually, I think they did 2014, at least for the first several races as well. So they had a good long run. Going to be interesting to see who they're going to have in the booth for those CW network races. I think NASCAR Productions is supposed to go on with getting the visuals up at least, but no announcements on who the commentators are going to be. Throw me in the booth. I'll be more than willing to do it. And I'll probably do it at a discounted price that everybody else has been doing it the last several years. I will take it. Heck, if that's my job, I'll just take 50 grand a year. Make it cheap on you. I do commentary full time for the NASCAR Xfinity Series for the next 7 years. They'll actually be starting to do CW for the NASCAR Xfinity Series this season for the final 8 races. And then starting the full season from start to finish in the Xfinity Series on the CW next year. Lights are out on the pace car. They'll be going green this time by. We'll have 11 laps to go. Austin Hill, Shane Van Gisbergen going to be in the front row. And it's going to be aggressive. We know Austin Hill to be very aggressive. We've seen Shane Van Gisbergen, when battling for a win, be super aggressive on the restarts. He's not willing to lay down lightly and has definitely traded paint before. And these two traded paint back at Coda battling for a win in the closing laps. I'm sure neither one has forgotten about that when that happened just a couple months ago. So Austin Hill leads, Shane Van Gisbergen second, AJ Allmendinger third, Sam Mayer fourth, and Sheldon Creed is fifth. That is the top 5 for this restart. Again, we'll have 11 laps to go when we go green. CW paid channel. Well, they paid to have NASCAR. So there's that, I guess. Truck Series will be staying on Fox Sports 1 from start to finish of the season, not only this year, but under the new TV contract beginning next season as well. And again, the early portion of the Cup schedule will still be on Fox for at least the next 7 years, but the Xfinity Series will be no longer. All right, 11 laps to go. SVG versus Austin Hill.
Adam. To the hill, Shane Gisbergen. Sonoma.
Shit gets a good start there on the outside. It's going to be hard for Austin to clear him. Barely, if he
Nope.
does.
Oh, he didn't give him a lot of room.
And Austin Mayer is through to second, Austin Green a third.
Remember that video we just talked about?
You know what?
Saw it the other way around.
I don't know if he meant to do that, though.
I think Hill pinched him. It looked like he was down in the grass.
Sure, Austin meant to do it in Coda either.
Yeah, he put 2 tires in the dirt. That's what happened.
Oh, AJ's around.
Allmendinger.
Now he's gonna be pissed.
This is happening turn 7. Yes, it's where they going on.
Here they are up for the lead on the restart. You see, yeah, Shane gets in there.
I guess it was more on Shane than Austin.
To Austin.
No, I saw the replay.
Just gets knocked out of the way. And then here is Sheldon Creed wheel hopping into 7. Again, nothing that AJ could have done. Just takes the hit in the door. And unfortunately, with this many laps left in the race, there's no time to recover.
This is a perfect example that 8 tires were better than 4 twice, right?
Twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing else possible to have done.
Remember how smooth the restarts were at the beginning of the race?
Oh yeah, that's gone.
And remember when I asked you what's the balance of patience and aggression? We
Yeah,
got a whole different answer there, didn't we?
I agree.
Whoa! Here goes John Hunter Neiman. Shaq.
My, oh my, what a save coming off of turn 4.
I'm not sure what made him start going wide there. But I'm sure that wall kicks back out to your really quick off of turn 4.
Look at some of these drivers behind him inside the top 10. Ryan Sieg is 7th. That Parker Retzloff up there in 9th. And Riley Hurst, who's had 2 penalties today, was inside the top 10. He's battling for that spot with Alex LeVay.
Guys, I'm gonna say this: Austin Hill is still running in the 5th position. If he advanced 1 more position, if for whatever reason the caution comes out,
Yeah, he did.
he just did. So things can get very interesting here in a second. And look at the 1 car. You know, Sam Mayer. He's actually getting closer and closer into the leaders.
And he was 2/10 faster that lap than Shane Van Gisbergen. The one of Sam Mayer is not done yet.
He was at the front last week, had a chance to win the race right there with Van Gisbergen. Justin Allgaier cut a tire, did Sam Mayer.
Got up against the wall up the final corner there.
Racing inside the top 10. Behind Van Gisbergen and Mayer, a couple of goose eggs, Green and Sheldon Creed.
Look at it. That's a weight transfer I talk about. When you go from left to right, it gets loose like that. Here's Sam Mayer on road courses. We talked about it. 3 wins. Look at the top 10s. And I got the last 10.
When I mentioned he was going to be top 5 again last week, if not the problem. I kept wondering, when is this young, talented driver out of Wisconsin going to win? He got it done last summer on the road in a home game, and since that time, he has just been incredible at this style of racing. Won at the Roval in the playoffs, made it to the championship 4, and there's little doubt he's going to be a big-time player when it's time to run for a championship again. 43 is Ryan Ellis around in turn 11. He gathers it up, goes on. We stay green.
That last lap, Shane was a couple tenths quicker than Sam Mayer. So they're kind of flipping back and forth lap to lap. Who's faster? That view is cool, where that wall is when he jumps to the corner there. Almost as close as it looks.
Look at our scoring pylon back there in 15th. Cole Custer after the spin. Right behind him, J.C. Love. Brought out the caution is 16th. He was trying to battle back late. Ed Jones in the top 15 despite problems. Haven't set Brennan Poole's name. He too is in the top 15. Alex LeVay hanging there in the 07.
Here's AJ after he got taken out there in turn 7. He's fallen way back in the running order, back at 23rd from running in the top 3 or 4.
5, yeah. That's not good.
There's 7 laps to go. The advantage 1.2 seconds for Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, Shane just laid down a monster lap there and put a good another 3 or 4 tenths on Sam. I mean, they're both 7 laps to go. They're both giving it all it's got.
They both have had some added track time. Shane did the wheel force test here a while back, so he was able to work in some extra track time, and the same for Sam Mayer, who won the ARCA race here yesterday. Josh reported that earlier.
Shane just reminds me so much of Marcus Ambrose. You know, Marcus got over here, we're like, right, he took a whole different level. You know, it took everybody a minute to figure out what he's doing and try to get better. And it's happening again. Like, you know, just 15 years later, you're seeing this round 2 of that, and all of us are going back to work and trying to find the next level. It shows the competition over there in the Supercross series on road courses. It's stout. It's what they do every week. Remember, we don't do this every week, right? And so vice versa. You see Shane, he's going through quite the learning curve on an oval, right? It's completely different. The game is different. The strategy's different. How you make speed, all that's completely different. So, you know, it's interesting to see week to week how Shane is able to adapt. And, you know, obviously he knows when he comes to a road course, that's his wheelhouse, right? He's got to capitalize, and he is.
He mentioned Ambrose, and Shane was telling us this week on NASCAR Race Hub that they visit basically every week to have a conversation about the upcoming track. And Shane said it's been great for me because it's a reminder of all the things I need to know about where I'm going to race. But he said it's also been good for Ambrose because he gets to talk racing with an old buddy every week. And he said, I think he kind of enjoys that. So it's a real neat connection between the two.
Something that Shane's doing that's different than everybody. When he's downshifting into turn 11, I've been listening to this all day. He skips third gear. He goes from fourth, and he goes straight to second. He doesn't go. He's kind of just going over and back down into second.
You know, something that Marcus Ambrose used to do as well. I remember seeing his onboard cameras, and I feel like something about their style by using the clutch, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you use the clutch, you're not gonna have an issue with like redlining as terribly, I guess, if that makes any sense.
We have seen a lot of people spinning out.
You're going from fourth to second, missing a shift. Protects the engine a little more.
Just start using the clutch when I downshift. So I just shot a few times. I'm left-handed. It's like riding with my right hand. It feels so foreign, not even close to anything I should be doing. And I thought, I don't know if I have enough career left to learn how to do that good enough to actually pay off. Right? Like I'm gonna lose a lot of races trying to get good at that. It's just a different school of thought.
Definitely different.
Sound like some of these drivers in the top 10. Can't say enough about Austin Green. Riding fourth right now. Only his third career start. Behind him, Austin Hill. He's right up there, had a chance to win the race, but pushed wide on that restart, is now in the 5th position. John Hunter Nemechek driving the 20. He won in that car earlier this season at Las Vegas. He's 6th right now.
What about Chandler Smith? I mean, he was just ranked
Right.
20 minutes ago. Right now, who's running the top 10?
He's one of those drivers trying to win the regular season championship, so all the points are big for him. Same for Justin Allgaier. He's been rolling lately. 7th, his driver's 7 with 4 to go. Ryan Sieg's had an eventful day, but he's in line for a top 10, although they're stacked up behind him. There's your guy Chandler Smith, and right behind him, Parker Retzloff. 2 drivers from Jordan Anderson Racing inside the top 10. And just outside the top 10, as we look at Retzloff, teammates racing for position. You got Riley Herbst and Cole Custer trying to recover when he got spun around earlier. And now for second, here's Creed.
Yeah, Sam Mayer had a big hiccup in the carousel a couple laps ago, and that allowed for SVG to pull away and for Sheldon Creed to now move into the second place position as he does through turn 11. So 3 laps to go. Creed is now up to second. He's finished second so many times in the NASCAR Cup Series. He gets to second, and without a caution, I don't think he's catching SVG. He's got over 2 seconds to try to gain on him in these last 3 laps. We'll see when our leaderboard updates from the last time they crossed the start-finish line to see exactly how many seconds back Creed is. Is still showing him third on our leaderboard. Ryan Sieg is wide. Not sure what corner that was in. Another car goes for a spin just behind him. That's Preston Pardis. Not a lot of damage there. A lot of dust. Driver's trying to get back onto the course and out of harm's way. We continue to stay green with both of those off-track problems. SVG really wants to get to that white flag as soon as possible. He won't have to endure another restart. Lead is over 2.5 seconds again for Shane Van Gisbergen over Sheldon Creed in second. Sam Mayer is third. Austin Green with a great run in fourth. Austin Hill is fifth. John Hunter Nemechek 6th. Justin Allgaier 7th. Chandler Smith 8th. Ryan Sieg 9th. Parker Retzlaff is 10th. So that is the top 10 and the final few laps of the race. Still 28 cars on the lead lap. I don't know what happened to Boris Said, but he was like 15th on the last restart. Now he's 28th, so tough break there. Might have gotten into a spin because he's well behind the next closest driver for position. Hate to see that. 2 to go now for SVG. Trying to win back-to-back races. And he did win Stage 1 today. It was his first stage win of the season, so first of his career in the Xfinity Series, and now he's got his first career pole earlier today for this race and looking for back-to-back wins. And that would actually match him for the most in the series of the Xfinity regulars, at least, with Chandler Smith and Austin Hill. Nowhere near them in the regular season championship talk, but racking up the playoff points here over the last couple of weeks. All 11 of the playoff points for SVG coming in a 8-day stretch here. 7-day. From Saturday to Saturday. White flag is in the air now. 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. So Shane Van Gisbergen continues on. Keeps pushing the pedal to the metal. He doesn't have to push that hard anymore, but he keeps extending his lead lap over lap. We are on the final lap, so if we get a caution, the race will come to an end there. Still 28 cars on the lead lap. And on the stat sheet, he started on the pole. He was fastest in practice, and he's going to go on to lead the most laps. He won a stage. So I mentioned there, again, with the win, 6 playoff points today. I'd say SVG had a pretty spectacular weekend, as he is definitely a name when talking about in conversation for a win anytime we go to a road course, especially here in the NASCAR Xfinity Series now. Battling back and forth on the last lap for the win at Coda. Would have ended up second if it wasn't for getting black flagged for cutting the S's on the final lap of the race there. Needless to say, he was the last car in the lead lap as a result of that. And then here today, well, last 2 weeks really, getting a win at Portland, getting a win here at Sonoma. Rolling through turn 11 for the final time in the hairpin, and now on the throttle all the way back around. He's already drifting. His celebration came a little early off of turn 11 there, as he's got a big enough lead to do so. Checkered flag waves, and Shane Van Gisbergen has won back-to-back races in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. That's 6 times I predicted a winner in the Xfinity Series this season. That's crazy. 6 for 13? 14, sorry, 6 for 14. Still. Might just take SVG to win every road course from here on out. I took him at Coda. I have taken him every road course race in the Xfinity Series at least this season. It's worked out twice. And yeah, he's drifting around every corner on the racetrack. His victory celebration. I like that he does it. It looks dangerous around other cars that are just trying to get back to pit road. It's unique, though. You don't see that from anybody else. Make it your own. He's trying to go the full lap. Drifting around the racetrack. Supercar style. He spun out doing it at Portland last week, but he's got himself once again. He's door to door here with Austin Hill. I think Hill might have hit him at some point under the cool-down lap. Hill still ends up with a top 5 finish. Contact between the 97 and the 21 through the carousel on that last restart with 11 laps to go. So they're both on the front row. So again, quick race stats. We'll go through the finishing order after we get the interview from Shane Van Gisbergen. 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 0 seconds total time on the race today. All 79 laps are scheduled race length. 156 miles were completed under regulation length. 71.73 mile per hour average race speed on the race. We had 4 cautions, 2 for incident, both of them in the final stage at lap 49, lap 64, and the stage yellows at lap 20 and 45. Shane Van Gisbergen from the pole wins, leads the most laps with 32 laps led. Ty Gibbs, who won stage 2, led 26 laps. And Austin Hill led the first 21 laps of stage 3 on pit sequence until SVG passed him to lead the last laps of the race. SVG, the only driver who led more than once, led again the first 21, won stage 1, and then didn't get it back until that final restart. 3 lead changes, 3 different leaders. Pretty straightforward race. Again, 28 cars on the lead lap at the end of it. And again, we'll go through the finishing results once we get the interview from tonight's race winner. It's weird, it's still daylight out on the West Coast. It's been dark here on the East for over an hour now. NASCAR Fan 05, thanks for tuning in. Flowers 637, see you in the chat as well. Khadij Baldwin. Many others. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content and live commentary streams just like this.
So he kicks the ball into the stands. We saw it last week at Portland. This is
Oh yeah, I forgot about him kicking the ball in the stands too.
Let's go down to Josh.
And guys, for the second week in a row, Shane Van Gisbergen is your winner in the Xfinity Series on a road course. And we saw the celebration at Portland. He signs a rugby ball. Adam, as you said, played rugby as a kid, and here it comes. The picture to the stands. He just missed it. Gee, first of all,
Hopefully it didn't hit anybody.
break me through the final restart where you were able to take the lead and what it took to get out front there.
Well, first, I got to thank these guys so much. Corner racing. We'll think Camaro got beat up again, but man, what a race. Adventure up and down all day. And yeah, that last restart, I just given it all I had. And 2 guys going for the same real estate come together. So yeah, it was pretty awesome though. Like a lot of fun. Hope everyone enjoyed the show. And yeah, pretty awesome back-to-back weeks for us.
You know, we've talked about the ups and downs in this season and getting used to what this series is, but you're able to flex your muscle when it comes to these road courses. What is it like for you to be able to show what you got when it comes to this style of racing?
Yeah, it's awesome. And the work we did between weeks to make the car better again. And it was an awesome race with Ty Gibbs at the start. We were really pushing each other, but yeah, special to win 2 road courses in a row and one day dream about winning on an oval.
Shane Van Gisbergen, your winner at Sonoma, guys.
Austin Hill comes home in the 5th position after battling all race long, leading a number of laps. The restart with 11 laps to go, though. We get to the top of turn 2. You heard what Shane Van Gisbergen just said. A couple of guys battling hard, and they came together. What was it from your perspective?
I didn't really see the replay the best. I blacked out, but you know, I'm gonna leave it to the keyboard warriors on this one. I'll let them figure out what happened. I'm sure no matter what comment I say, it'll be wrong. So, yeah, I mean, we're sitting here watching it here. Yeah, I don't know. I plead the 5th. I'm not gonna say anything about it. We'll just go on to the next one. Good hard racing. Vintage Chevrolet was as fast as Xfinity Internet. We were holding off SVG there for a while. Had that caution. I knew it was going to be tough on the restart, and didn't work out. But we had a good points day. Finished in the top 5. Can't ask more than that.
Thanks, Austin.
Second straight week at Shane Van Gisbergen, who finds his way to.
That'd be insane if SVG just goes on to win the rest of the road course races this season, finishes with like 5 or 6 wins, and then he has like the most wins in the Xfinity Series of any other driver this year. That'd be insane if that ends up happening. It's not impossible. I mean, he's tied for the most now. We got another road course at Chicago with the street race, which he won in the Cup Series last season, and that's in less than a month. Austin Hill's only 2 wins were on super speedways. I mean, Chandler Smith can maybe get a couple more in JGR equipment, but even he hasn't had one in about a month and a half or so. So you never know what could happen there. Margin of victory, 1.3 seconds for Shane Van Gisbergen. And again, his second career win after his first career pole today. Back-to-back weeks for SVG from Portland to Sonoma. Good West Coast swing, I'd say, for that 97 team for colleague racing. Sheldon Creed ends up finishing in second yet again in his NASCAR Xfinity Series career. Man, I mean, he didn't have anything for SVG today. He didn't get to second until the closing laps of the race got by Mayer with 3 laps to go. Sam Mayer does finish in third. Austin Green with a career best finish, fourth in his third career Xfinity start, and Austin Hill ends up finishing fifth after leading just over 20 laps. Justin Allgaier finishes sixth after a week from finishing in second. Chandler Smith ends up 7th, John Nemechek 8th, Cole Custer 9th, and Parker Kligerman rounds out the top 10. Parker Retzlaff ends up finishing in 11th, Jesse Love 12th, Riley Herbst 13th, Brendan Poole 14th, great run for him. Ed Jones 15th with damage after that big incident, same for Josh Bilicki in 16th. AJ Allmendinger had a spin on that last restart. He rallied back to 17th place after running top 5 for most of the day, or at least in the final stage of this race. Blaine Perkins 18th, Alex LeBay 19th, Ryan Sieg 20th, Matt DiBenedetto 21st, Jeremy Clements 22nd, 23rd for Kyle Sieg, Brad Press 24th, Preston Pardis 25th, Ryan Ellis 26th, Garrett Smithley 27th, Boris Seb was the last car in the lead lap at 28th, Leland Honeyman 29th, Kyle Weatherman in 30th, Anthony Alfredo 31st, 2 laps down. By the way, Honeyman and Weatherman were both 1 lap down. 7 laps down for Haley Deegan in 32nd. Sammy Smith 8 laps down in 33rd. Everybody else DNF today. Thomas Annunziata finishes 34th. Ty Gibbs 35th. Jeb Burton 36th. Josh Williams 37th. And Brandon Jones rounds out our 38 car field in last. So he wins last car today. 5 DNFs in total. Again, 3 lead changes, 3 different leaders, 4 cautions, 2 for incident, both in the final stage. And congratulations to Shane Van Gisbergen getting a sweep this weekend. Fastest in practice, qualifying, and wins the race with leading the most laps. Can't really ask for a much better weekend. The only thing that could have been better, he could have won stage 2. Also, he finished second in stage 2. So he came close to just completely obliterating the field all weekend between practice yesterday, the race, qualifying today. And so long to the NASCAR Xfinity Series on Fox. Again, they will be on the CW starting next year, and USA Network / NBC will be taking over the Xfinity Series for the rest of this season now, and the rest of the Cup Series schedule starting next week at Iowa as well. So, yeah, they had a long run, for sure. From the early years of it being on Fox and FX there for a long time, and then the TV deal from 2007 through, I think it was 01 through 06, they had Xfinity races on Fox. Of course, at that time it was the Busch Series races. Fox, FX, like I mentioned, and then they were on Fox Sports 1 and Fox from 2015 to now for the last 10 years, and at least for the next 7, they will no longer be broadcasting NASCAR Xfinity Series races going forward. So that was it for today. The airing Cup Series qualifying, yeah, I should just like stream that now. I already kind of know what happens, at least who is on the pole. I don't really know much of the rest of the top 10. I just know the top 3 from qualifying. Joey Logano did get the pole earlier, and I believe his teammate Ryan Blaney will be starting second. Looking for redemption after last week running out of gas on the last lap. I might roll with picking Blaney again. I picked him last week. He was leading on the last lap and picked SVG and nearly got the sweep last weekend, and 1-for-1 so far this week, so who knows. Thanks for everybody tuning in, though. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. More NASCAR content. Our live stream tomorrow will begin at 3 p.m. Eastern. Again, 3 p.m. Eastern. We will go live for our Cup Series coverage, and it will be the last Cup race on Fox this season, and it will be on your local Fox affiliate. We're at 92 likes right now. We didn't get to the goal of 100 during the stream. Still got a good chance of getting there here after the closing finish of this one, so be sure, again, to hit the like button if you haven't done so. See you back better than ever tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern, everybody. Have a good rest of your Saturday night.